Hey everybody, and welcome to episode number 3 of the do we have a title? I like Sometimes Positive podcast.
Sometimes positive's not bad, to be fair.
Classic minus is also a good one.
Oh,
I
okay.
prefer
Well, okay.
classic
Well,
minus.
yeah. Okay, we've not decided on it yet then. The astute viewers may notice we have a fourth person in today's podcast. This is Dumpy. Hey Dumpy, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you.
Also known as Ursi, former, can I say pro Hearthstone player?
Yes, a pro Hearthstone player. I like it.
Watch the Hearthstone player.
You came second in DreamHack. What year?
DreamHack Winter 2015.
Dude, that's so cool. I like simp so hard for Dumpy on his like pro Hearthstone career. So cool. Anyway, it's lovely to have you here, and we've all of us have played together for a long time. We were all playing on Gummies. We all play in Praxis on Classic now. We all played on Gummies, and were we all playing together on whatever was
Netherwing.
before Netherwing? Gummies, then Netherwing. Yeah.
I keep thinking we played together on Felmis, but it's only me and you, TSW.
Really?
Me and Sam didn't play Gummies.
Yeah,
I joined on Netherwing.
Well, I feel like I've known you
It feels
forever.
like we've played with them for
Yeah.
ages. But
Me and Dumpy joined later.
Ugh. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a commentary through Progress's now #1 world record speed run in Blackwing Lair. So I actually don't have the spreadsheet up. I should maybe do that.
Could be useful.
Could be useful to have some
I'm
show
totally
notes.
not opening it up right now.
I hope we're totally not doing that thing that people who publish the YouTube videos do, right? Where they say, "Oh yeah, world record BWL," and then the next day someone beats it and they have to go back and.
I mean, I don't mind it. I don't care about that really. It's a lot of people in the comments for the Guzzy former world record. Everyone in the comments they've already done it, and it's like yeah, well,
That's the
who
point,
expects
right?
it to be world record forever? Nobody. Like you're not.
Unless they get like 15 minutes or something, and everyone's just like, "What the yeah."
Yeah.
That's gonna be close to impossible.
As of recording, they have the #1, and to be honest, it doesn't look like it's going to be beat until the next cycle of speedruns I go through. So
Yeah.
It's really weird that it came this late, right? Like
Oh, from Dartmouth Fair.
Tuesday was the
Yeah.
last day for the last reset, and then if you beat it on after Tuesday, it means you set out for a full lockdown to try it.
yeah, why? Well, we can go into that when it comes to what consumables and world buffs you need for speedruns, right? But like to cut the story short, the conclusion is they must have logged out for a while to be able to do this.
For a
run
week.
back.
For a week, yeah.
No.
Well,
long time.
not quite a full week. I think the DMF finished like a few days before. But anyway, we're going to be going over the progress speedrun. It's a very good speedrun by the looks of things.
World record, apparently.
Well, apparently, better than ours.
Oh, it's because we had such a good speed run as well, and we were
so
what
happy with that.
at
Like,
peak.
6 minutes behind
At peak, we were like 13th in the world.
Yeah,
And then that
quickly,
day,
very
everyone
quickly
else adds their times, and we just go down and down and down. But it
That's
shows you
what
how
we always have.
competitive.
Ever since
Happens
MT,
every
we do like the first day that the lockout opens, we take full buffs.
Yeah.
And then we get like record Shazra and MC and stuff, and then we just watch everyone overtake us over the
Wow,
week.
Praxis
Not
top
everyone,
10, and then we're like
A
50.
couple.
Dude,
We always take a head start because we.
But,
wait
yeah,
first.
This was an unusually late entry, I think, and they absolutely smashed it. What was it, like 20 seconds over the previous one or
And
something?
more,
1
I think,
minute.
like 50.
1 minute.
Right, yeah, like absolutely smashed it, basically. And you can see from the reaction later, like as they're approaching the end, that they know it's a pretty good run.
Yeah.
But this is like us going over what is. It doesn't matter who it is. Like it's whatever the world record at the time. We're going to go over like the wider topics of like what it means to speedrun BWL currently in the sort of.
Like
Well,
some
well,
of the
there's a
mechanics
drama
that they
on it,
were
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
What prep needs to go into having this kind of speedrun and such and such.
Yeah.
Well, mainly have fucking 20 warriors. That's what you need.
It's a good start.
Rank 14.
Yeah.
Helps.
Little bit, yeah. But less and less as we go forward. Every week, people get their Maladeaths and their CTS, and it becomes less and less relevant being rank 14.
Yeah.
But when you have so many warriors, it's going to take you ages to get that loot dropping from the bosses to gear all of the warriors, no matter how much you're splitting and doing extra Blackwing Lair IDs.
I mean,
Kazakh's another big question mark for a lot of guilds. I don't think all of these top guilds have access to Kazakh the same way some others do.
Progress is one of the guilds that has a fairly tight lockdown as far as I haven't looked at it.
Apparently, according to Tetsu, it's very locked down.
Yeah, they've got about 5 Empyreans or something in the guild. Gassi's had 7, was it? Something like that?
Yeah.
We have 6.
7.
7. We've got 7.
Yeah.
And there's competition on ours as well. So we've been a bit lucky there after complaining about our luck.
Just checking, Progress had 3 Empyreans on the speedrun that we were about to watch.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah,
maybe it's like Dalloway and us that he's decided to go rank 14 instead of it or something. Maybe there's
that's possible.
A lot of it comes down to just having layers, because they still have layers, and that means getting board bosses is just that much easier, right? We kind of
imagine farming both layers or many layers with one guild. Imagine the Empyreans you would get.
For a guild that has a complete lockdown over it, sounds like a dream, doubling your Empyrean Demolisher intake. But for a guild that has to fight for it, which I'm guessing most do, they don't find it super easy. Maybe they've pumped the rest of the server into submission and they've all given up. But on our server, no matter what we do, they keep trying, and we have to fight for everyone. So I don't know what's like on their server, to be fair. Either way, as Dumpy says, having access to Kazakh will obviously help their weapon situation. And let's be honest, when you're running this many warriors, the main limitation in gear is the number of weapons you can get, basically.
Yep.
After the amount of warriors, it's the amount of weapons, yeah.
Yeah, and rank 14 helps with that. We don't have many rankers in ours. Progress have quite a few. Apes have, as you know, like all of them. It's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing guilds like Progress, when you talk about when they get the Maladeaths in and stuff, it helps them because they've not got all rank 14s. But what happens to weapons in apes? What happens when Maladeath drops in for apes or anything like that?
I mean, it's just a straight upgrade for Mythos, right? Not that he really needs it, but
it's a good offhand weapon, isn't it? To Imperium.
It is. Well, it's not amazing. If you have everyone rank 14, the swords just become that much better, right?
But this is actually a super big point of discussion, because at the level these speedrunning guilds are right now, it comes purely down to how much damage they can deal. The strategies you can cheese, you can try to do cheeky double pulls, or you can come up with really clever strats to save some time here. But that's not going to save you a lot of time. No matter how you do it, there's no tricks anymore, I don't think. You have to do more damage, and that's the only way you get faster.
Yeah. I think the sole reason why Progress is as fast as they are is just because of their execution.
And Dumpy, where do you think that time window is? Because I think we approached that, right? Like our big saves over our last speedrun. Well, so for the record, we got 26 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we were super happy with at the time. Obviously, it's got nothing on these guys, but I started feeling it, say, around the 27, 28 minute mark where, running faster and recovering faster from crash and staying alive, etc., gains you the most time. I feel like we're beginning to hit the wall in which you're basically limited by damage almost. I mean, we're not there yet.
I think close.
We can save about 1.5 minutes. We can save about 1.5 minutes by reducing the time where nobody is doing anything. Even if we do that, we're still 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes behind these guilds.
I mean, for the record, I think that's you've probably done the most sort of analysis of our speedruns, right, Dumpy? It's probably why you're perfectly suited for this episode. Yeah. So you have a general idea of where we can save time the best, more than me. I mean, I should know better, but you've thought about it a lot more than me, and you'd say that we'd save another about 1.5 minutes, you say, before we have to basically just maximize damage.
Yeah, what is our time? 26?
26:30-ish.
About 6 minutes behind these guys.
Yeah, so we can do 25. We can do 25 if we optimize our downtime. and just keeping the pace going. But after that, there is still 3 minutes of damage difference. It's not purely gear. It's also just players performing better and
cooldown usage, global usage.
Yeah, skill and setup, which hopefully going through this progress video, we'll get a general idea of stuff that they do a lot better than us in terms of managing their cooldowns and things like that. And some things actually, which is quite nice, having looked at it before, some things that we did that stuff like, for example, you came up with like independently. Like it's nice to know that some of the strategies we've employed are also the same strategies employed by the very, very best guilds. So it's good to compare.
So we're 3 minutes behind if we stop our needless pausing, our needless time wasting.
Yeah,
it's not so much needless because it's like healers drinking. Like they have to drink.
Okay, because I was wondering if you had considered it being drinking time. So is that 3 minutes without using FAPs on the Draconoid packs?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So that assumes we are fapping.
The 3 minutes that Dumpy's talking about is if, like, say we use the exact
because
there's
a lot of time that we can eat into that 3 minutes, which is fapping.
Well, this is before the 3 minutes, right?
It's the FAP on Draconoids is DPS time. It's time that, well, based on what I just said, is time that we are fighting the Draconids, but we are spending 15 or 25 seconds stunned. Meanwhile, these guilds are spending 25 seconds hitting them.
Damage.
So,
yeah, okay.
Well, we'll see that when we get to the Draconids.
That's like the DPS kind of saves we can do.
Okay. So we're ranked about 35, maybe top 40 right now with our 2630.
Was position 13 of time of setting, but then guilds. I know, but like guilds hadn't ran yet for that.
But it's interesting though, because let's say that we are rank 13 with a 2630 or whatever time, it doesn't really matter. We are one Darkmoon Fair reset or event, whatever, away from being rank 13, or we were. Do you know what I mean? So it's very competitive still, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, there's loads of guilds speedrunning.
It's the thing to do.
It's right really good to see. Like it's healthy for the game.
Content in Classic, let's be honest.
Yeah. The only skill-based content that exists, besides
back
maybe
in the days, it was who kills it, right? And now it's not anymore about who kills it, but who kills it the fastest.
It's a little bit about who kills it.
Who kills it first anymore, because it all comes down to what bloody your server.
So how did this start? How did
speedrunning? The wider question of speedrunning.
How did it start in Classic? What caused this
private servers
kind of competitive speedrunning?
I'm going to say it's people playing slightly later expansions in which the content is more difficult, and then having that hardcore mentality and going back and playing vanilla private servers and going, this content's a breeze. How do we make it a challenge? I think it's the sort of mindset that player has to compete over something, right? Whether it's arena players in TBC or, server first in Wrath of Lich King or whatever.
They just might want to improve, right? And them wanting to improve, like they have already such a high skill set that they will not improve in normal rounds. They need to be pushed.
And it's certainly not to save time, right? Because the amount of prep that goes into getting.
I think it started from that. If you don't do a world buff Blackwing Lair, you can still do it in under an hour. And if you're not really paying attention with time being a focus, you might slip into a 2-hour Blackwing Lair. No one is going to say they rather a 2-hour Blackwing Lair than a 1-hour Blackwing Lair, as long as both of them are still somewhat chill. But then, it comes to, we can maybe do a 50-minute Blackwing Lair with no world buffs. Okay, that's really fun. What would be interesting, maybe we can try harding and maybe getting world buffs. And then it just kind of snowballs from there, I think.
You have people saying, like, I wonder how fast it would be if we all had world buffs and actually tried.
Now no one's actually saving time anymore. Like, we're spending a whole week just camping for War Chiefs Plus.
For Molten Core, where we aren't speedrunning anymore, I think we're still reaping the benefits of doing the speedrunning that we did.
Yeah, I mean, it saved us time in the long. Thinking about
every MC run, we're saving whatever 10, 15 minutes, however long it would take us extra, not having speedrun it.
Well, I think this is just the wider question of why do people speedrun easy games anyway? It's just competitive people will find stuff to compete over, right? People will play competitive tiddlywinks
You don't play chess against an empty chair, win, and then you think the game over. I've peaked. You play against other people.
What I think classic WoW compared to private servers has brought is exactly the competition. Like on private servers, there was already speedrunning, but there was no competition. It was like one guild showing off what they can do to everyone else, and everyone else is like, "Oh, look at this God Gamer guild. They do this. I can never hope of achieving anything like this." But now it's like there is one record, and then there's 5 guilds competing to beat that record, and then somebody takes that, and then everyone's like constantly pushed for more and more and more.
I think there's one extra private server thing. On private servers, typically they had very, very long time frames between content release, so that you'd have this number 1 guild that progressed it first, great. And then maybe 8 months down the road, you're still doing Blackwing Lair, and there's a new guild that's come along, and they're better in every sense of being better, but in terms of progress, they can never be number 1 because 6 months ago, 8 months ago, there was a guild that cleared it first. So they're always, rank 50 or however many guilds have killed it before them. But if they're a better guild in every single way, what's the only way that they can flex their muscles and say we're better? And that's with a quicker clear. I think that's probably where it comes in.
Damage logs.
Damage, but that's individuals, isn't it?
But we've seen how some people cheese that basically brings individual passing to irrelevance, really. Like,
that guy on Reddit posting his Paladin pass. It's like, wow, 40% of your damage was on the ads on Nefarian. Bravo, sir. Or even higher, I don't know.
People have to find legitimate competition. And let's be honest, the competitiveness of these... I know a lot of people, even listening here, will be thinking speedrunning 15-year-old content, that's not very competitive. But I don't care what these people say, they can shut up. It is competitive. There's a lot of prep, skill, and thought goes into these speedruns. And you can't just pick it up and get world first.
If you don't think speedrun is competitive, I'm sure you've probably stopped watching this podcast long before you've got to this point.
It's very, very competitive. And as Dumpy says, the player base is there now. There's a healthy pool of competitors, and they're going to compete over it.
Did we even outline what speedrunning is? There's a website, World of Logs. It does classic, it does retail, and you can search by player. Yeah, what did I say?
Warcraft.
World of Logs.
Oh, oops. That was the old one in retail, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a very old one, yeah.
Well, I play an old game. And you just have like an add-on program that you run. You have extended quest log that gives you more information. You upload your log file at the end. It goes to the website. The server looks at the numbers, sees what realm you're on, how much damage everyone did. It's like taking your damage meter and every other meter into account, and then you have a nice thing on a web page where it shows you your damage relative to everyone else who logged, which is basically every top guild out there, and even like medium casual guilds are still logging, and you can just see your damage, your healing, compared to everyone else who's logging, as well as have even a replay feature where you can see all the little symbols for each of the classes running around the map doing their damage, and you can see what they're doing. It's almost like an action replay of the raid with loads of different metrics to follow, including how long it took you to clear the dungeon.
Yeah, not everyone uses it to speedrun, but crucially, as we said, that the player base is there because it's official now, it's classic. Ultimately, the rules of the speedrunning game is basically dictated by the community and largely one website and one person, really. And although he consults the community, it is dictated by, as you say, Warcraft. Warcraft logs is the thing that people use to compete with. But so one savvy person could just say, oh, well, why don't you just, invis pot through half of the trash or whatever? It's like, well, no, that invalidates the no trash skipping. There's a certain amount of trash you have to kill to have a valid log according to this website, etc. So the community decides, like any speedrunning game, they decide what the rules of the speedrun are, and it's whoever can do it the fastest. So it's arbitrary, but it makes sense.
So it's community driven in the sense that the dude who runs the site listens to what people say, which is pretty good. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, we all know do we go by what Warcraft Logs says, or do we go by what a blue post says? You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm referring to, yeah?
Well, in terms of progression, you go by the
blue post.
All about the blue post. Who gives a fuck about what one dude...
Oh, I was wondering, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Our world first Veil Strats in Blackwing Lair, boys! World first Raiders! Hoi, hoi.
But in terms of actual competition and actually popping off about being and flexing your muscles and being good, you have to go by what the community dictates with the rules. But I mean, for example, like I'm not sure about you guys, but I disagree with the rulings on Warcraft logs. I think it should be just bosses.
Kill Nefarian. Like,
or even killing Nefarian.
If bosses were skippable, I could understand if they said you have to kill all the bosses or a quantity of bosses. But I think every raid you have to kill every boss. I don't think there are any raids in TBC or Classic where you can skip bosses. But at least kill bosses. Like in TBC on private servers, we were invis potting and stuff, and I liked that. I think that was fun.
In ZG, you can
like
skip
any
bosses.
percent. It's the question of any percent versus 100%
You
in speedrunning.
have the gate though to Hexlord that only opens when you kill the other bosses. I think.
Yeah, but you can just go and kill Akar.
Sorry, ZG. I'm thinking Zulaman. Sorry, my mistake.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right then. Okay, that's right.
But Taiba, there is any percent. There is a log for any percent for BWL.
And
nobody is using it. Like I feel like the community has spoken and the community has chosen their category.
Oh, I have no. I'm not complaining. I'm not suggesting that. Like
maybe we go for world first skip if we can't get any better than a 13 and then get demolished as everyone else submits logs. We just go for a different route.
I would personally hold more weight to the any percent because that's how private servers went. Look at Vanguard's videos. You know, like it was a case of just getting the last boss dead, and I guess they tried to make it so that guilds raiding every week are not going to be skipping trash with flasks of petrification and things like that. So it's meant to be a more everyman sort of.
There should be a dad gamer category as well, where you are only allowed a certain amount of like item level to have the run be counted.
No world buff.
No epics. No runs under 3 hours allowed.
I would honestly make no world buff section.
Because
that
well
one,
said,
Taiba
Sam.
said it before. Taiba said it before.
Well done.
I just
That's
reacted to
good.
it.
Because you could do that in your non-Dark Moon Fair weeks. Dude.
The logs don't even know if you have world buffs right now.
True.
It's actually hard for them to do.
That.
Yeah, if you get buffed before combat logging takes place.
Do you guys know what is the world record for with trash skips? I just looked it up.
Okay, so let's theorize. Don't look. So it's 20.
I think it's going to be slower than the one with.
It's going to be.
Oh yeah,
slower.
yeah. Of course, it's not competitive. I reckon 20. So we do a 26. I say about 26.
35.
38.
Oh, okay. So the record is Calamity, Horde Guild from Mograine.
Oh, they're good, right? No, they're a good guild.
25.
Hey, I win!
Hey,
Got him!
Yeah, no, Calamity are a good yeah.
Calamity have the progress rank 1.
So now I'm curious, right? Did they get that accidentally, or did they purposefully try and?
Good call.
Did they get their log invalidated because they accidentally left like? You know,
yeah, they can't translate the text necessarily one-to-one and get a good translation to know. I don't know if they have fluent English speakers in their guild.
Calamity aren't Chinese.
Sorry, I'm thinking Sin United.
No. Calamity are private.
Burnt some bridges there.
Yeah, they're private server players, man.
Do you guys remember Vanguard? Vanguard or Calamity?
Yeah.
Calamity and one other guild synced.
Yeah. So, but yeah, because I think that speaks volumes. If you go through the logs, I doubt they actually tried to min-max that ranking. It's probably just a log that got invalidated on the without.
Yeah, or maybe they pulled 2 packs in combat, and the same way that Ebon Rock and Flame Gore can invalidate.
Yeah, it's probably an accidental invalidation. I don't think they targeted.
I don't think it's there is only 5 trash fights on the log. So I don't know what exactly they've killed because it's kind of hard. All the packs are named Blackwing Spellbinder.
Hey man, maybe we should do this. Like I want to do an invis pot speedrun and stuff because I know it's not competitive and no one will give a shit if we get number 1 or whatever. But to me, that's what any percent. Like I'm a big any percent person in speedrunning in general. Like that's any percent to me.
That's also a category where it's kind of hard to find the right way of doing it. You know, like the current category is you see this one guild doing it and you have to do it the same way. Otherwise, you're just doing it wrong. You just look what somebody's doing and then you copy it. So this would give some room for at least for innovation.
But it's arbitrary which trash that you have to kill and which ones you're allowed to run past. Like I think the logic is, it's if you can run past without the aid of any sort of hunter pull petrification flask invis pop shenanigans, then the trash is skippable. Hence why you skip the first one of the packs after Veil, and you skip one of the tech packs, and that makes a valid no trash skip log.
Two of the trash.
Two of the tech packs, sorry. Because you can run past them without any shenanigans.
You could do a heavy Warlock setup and have a third of the raid invis, then summon the rest of the raid. Next third of the raid invis, summon the rest of the raid. Then the last third of the raid invis, summon the last 2/3 of the raid.
But you have to. That's the thing. You have to kill the packs.
Why is there any requirement for trash?
It's true. Well, that's my.
But they could just say if the log records any petrification flask, I suppose you can still hunter mess it up.
Yeah,
but I still think that's fun. Like any percent is any percent. Like let it run.
But guys, do you not think it's curious then that that was the category on private servers? Like people, I say category. It wasn't really, as you say, it was only the few top guilds. But people would post their videos online of like fastest BWL in the world, 20 minutes or whatever, and it would have like the Vanguard, petrification flask, invis pop, etc. skips or whatever. Like that was the default back in private servers, and obviously this guy's consulted with Progress and other guilds, and now they've decided, no, hang on, none of that shenanigans. That's not going to be the official thing anymore. But every other game, if you look for their main category, nearly every time it's any percent, not 100% or anything else. It's always just get to the last bit of the game and finish it.
I think for Classic in particular, it is about being reasonable in the way that you have to prepare for it. Like, if you do it this way, everybody can compete, even though they don't actually prepare for anything like super special. And if it comes to the point where you need to do a flask of petrification skip to do anything to have a shot at the record, then you will drastically reduce the amount of competition.
Yeah, but if you're going to beat this time, you're going to have to get like Mega Battle Shout and WarriorTSW Blessing on the lines. Like, there's no. I can say this. I'm going to look really stupid if this ever happens. I do not think an Alliance guild with reasonably current gear will ever beat that speedrun without WarriorTSW Blessing.
They will.
You think someone will beat that time in near current gear without WarriorTSW Blessing?
If you give them enough time, I reckon it's possible.
Without WarriorTSW Blessing.
Without WarriorTSW Blessing.
No.
They won't. And to me,
I think so.
Getting your entire warrior team WarriorTSW Blessing on Alliance is far more work than planning petrification or paying for petrification skips or anything like that. So it's
Depends
already
on the server.
Like, the point being is that you're already excluding dad gamers and things from this, because that's the point. It's a competition. The people who pull out all the stops are the ones who are going to win, and I don't see any problem with that at all. Like,
yeah, that's a fair point.
But yeah, I'd be curious to see if the other ranking became competitive. I mean, let's lead the way. Let's hashtag practice invis skips. Or
hashtag still not be quicker.
Still not be quicker. We'll get world first, and some people will be like, "Oh, who are these RP PvP shit?" The
RP category.
Yeah. They'll end up, apes will come and speed bully us.
Presumably, we're the #1 roleplay server by far.
Yeah, absolutely smashing it.
Well, there we go.
Know what RP is.
How much is that relevant?
I don't. But I know back in the day, they'd have World First Alliance, World First Horde. We can just cut a small chunk of that slice of the pie, World First RP, bitch.
Well, what servers do you think haven't? You bring up we're an RP PvP.
True, there aren't many, are there?
There's not many.
I think there's one for each region.
But the point is that servers are massively. The communities, the faction balance, the economies are vastly different on different servers at the moment. Do you think that a certain type of server yields an advantage in these speedruns, or makes it impossible? In fact, we haven't really discussed how these guilds are on different servers with different backgrounds.
Speedruns, yes. Launch, probably no, because of the lag that we saw. We had a very good Blackwing Lair launch.
Oh yeah, let's just consider speedruns for now, because getting the first at anything is that's a wild question in comparison.
The quality of the player base, I think, has not as big of a impact as I think a lot of people think, but there is an impact. Let's say 5-10% on the skill of the players can be boosted. Probably more. It depends. But
there is a big effect of whether a realm is locked or not. If you can recruit from other servers, then that's a huge benefit compared to not being able to do that. I remember we used to be getting applications from other servers when Zandalar was free to transfer to. And now that part has kind of died.
And let's be honest, Dumpy, being completely fair to, I'm sure the Zandalorians who are listening, we're not the best server. Like, we're not the, sorry, but like, let's be honest, we haven't really, including ourselves, got the same overall average skill level that, say, Gehennas or Firemaw, etc. have, where the big guilds are.
Yeah, if you take the best 40 players from the server, you're going to be getting limited options versus the big servers where you have...
Like, if BlizzCon had an event where it's like, let's find the best speedrunning server, and it's got like Zandalar best 40 versus Firemaw best 40. we're going to get absolutely
any event,
lads.
But could you imagine if they had if they did like a tournament where it was per server, we'd be number one, and there'd be let's say there are 20 servers. I don't know how many there are. There'd be 20 winners. As long as they didn't take those 20 winners and then make like a super tournament, we'd be fine at just being number one on the server. That would be enough. It's like, okay, we got it. You've been invited to the grand tournament. I'm like, sorry, I think I'm busy that day. We'll just settle where we are.
I think for most of the guilds that are speedrunning, the competition isn't really server-wide anymore.
No, exactly.
Apart from like Gehennas.
That's a good thing with WoW on a bigger level. Sorry to interrupt, but like it brings everyone together. No matter what server you played on, what guild you play on. Well, I guess it's just guild versus guild actually. But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so I think like server doesn't matter for most of these people if they are getting a steady supply of people that are constantly burning out and coming back to the game.
People should be replaced with rank 14s.
Yeah.
You're not a person. You're a brown rank 14. Are we gonna watch this video? Because I only set up one screen on my OBS, and that's you guys haven't seen this, but obviously the audience can see it. It's four of us at the top with Tetsu's stream underneath. So when we're introducing ourselves, I imagine there's some cheeky bugger who said, there's 5 people. Who's this guy in the bottom left-hand corner who's got a frozen webcam? Because he's been down there like since the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, did you have the overlay for Tetsu's stream? Like,
yeah, the whole time. Because I thought we were going to like do intro and I mean, it doesn't matter really. I don't know.
We're talking too much shit. Let's get...
we're only half an hour in and we haven't hit play once.
Let's go for it.
Is that my fault? I don't know.
We are ready?
Yeah. I'm ready. Okay, so we're watching Tetsu, who is one of the big tumors for Progress, who hold currently, time of recording, #1 BWL airspeed record. So we're all watching it at once. Sam's controlling when it's paused and stopped. And when interesting stuff happens, we will comment about it. Dude, I'm going to put a timestamp as a comment. Skip to 33 minutes in the video if you just want to see the speedrun commentary.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning, don't pay attention. You'll hear him say this. The splits that he's got on the screen there don't work. You find they break half like during it. He tries to fix it.
Oh, you mean on the... I'll use my mouse.
On the top left, underneath the red.
Yeah, the turquoise text.
It breaks. For some reason it breaks. I don't know why. But you can see that the time starts when they engage the trash. And they kill the controller as quickly as possible and have someone in position under the platform to immediately start the encounter. There's no other way to gain time on this. You have to pop eggs as quickly as possible. So the only thing that matters is killing the controller ASAP and controlling the orb ASAP as well, which you can see the
and also having a route for the eggs, like most optimal route, which saves like at best 10 seconds.
As long as
we managed to lose 15 seconds compared to apes just on clicking the eggs and killing Razorgore.
Yeah, so yeah, you see,
so
it saves about 15 seconds.
Better,
I mean, but the only thing that's limiting is the cooldown on the break egg, and it's so forgiving that you can go across the entire room almost within a break egg cooldown. So
yeah,
like it's less the route and more the controllers being able to maximize their break egg cooldown. But these top guilds have no problem with that. It's not even a consideration to them. You can see Tetsu. He's interacting with his stream. He even says, okay, after this boss, I'm probably going to go a bit quieter, which I was the same with my stream. During this, people are chilling. TSW put some like funny music over our part of this, because this is super not important to the speedrun. The only thing that matters is the person breaking the eggs does it on time.
Also, we mentioned most of the word buffs. Yeah.
Oh, you can see all the buffs he has in the top right.
We mentioned most of the word buffs in our previous podcast already. He has Warchi's buffing, he has Songflower, he has Dark Moon Fair buff, which gives 10% damage. He has Onyxia buff. He has Spirit of Zandalar, which is a new one that comes with ZG. He has all the consumables. He has Spirit of Zanza, which is movement speed.
We should talk about that after, by the way, about which Zanza's better, or maybe you want to talk about it now.
Yeah.
Probably
Later.
We can pause it whenever.
It's going to go fast.
We can pause it.
I can pause it. Okay.
So
Sam's rattled off the buffs there, but the key one was, what did you say, Sam?
So the key ones are Dark Moon Fair. That's why speedruns usually happen only once a month. Because
Dark Moon Fair is 10% more damage.
Yeah. Then you have Spirit of Zandalar, which is 10% movement speed and 15% increased stats, which is a huge buff that got introduced with turning in the Heart of Akar from ZG. He has Swiftness of Zanza, which is from Zandalar tribe Revered. You can get this, and this one particular increases your movement speed by 20%. Obviously very helpful in a speedrun. He has Valentine's Chocolate, which is from the Valentine's, what is it called?
Holiday event.
Holiday event, which gives 2% hit. It's pretty hard to stock up on, and the event was going on for only about 2 weeks. So
and expires after 10 days of being logged in as well. The chocolate expires.
Oh, well, the New Year's keg should have expired as well, and it didn't. So it's have
not ticking down whilst logged out.
And the Goblin in Stormwind.
And the Goblin in Stormwind's going to be there all year, apparently. Which he doesn't take, by the way. He doesn't use a buff slot on his. So it's worth mentioning. Well, someone may ask innocently, why can't you just get every buff you can in the game then? And you have to be very selective with what you take, because you can only have 32 total buffs, and some things that you don't think are buffs are buffs. And
stances used to be all enchant, like a lot of enchants.
Yeah, it's the main optimization every Fury Warrior in particular has to do. So he selected his buffs very carefully. These are not just thrown on willy-nilly. Like these are fairly
carefully selected.
I disagree with some of them. In fact, actually, I do disagree with some of these choices. But I personally I understand how difficult it is to pick the right ones, and people have different ideas.
It's good though, because you can have your own flair involved. True. And depending on what you're doing, like a tank 4, or a DPS, would change it. And depending on what your gear is as well. Because a lot of people, if you've got rank 14 gear, you've got more armor and stamina anyway. Whereas if you're a leather boy, Fury Warrior, you might want to have the armor elixir, so that when either of you do take damage, it's more similar versus one of you dropping a notable amount more.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, he's using 10 strength food, as I can far as
it's good you've paused it with his bags open.
So here you can see he, like, shortly after the stream started, he started clicking off some DM buffs that were a protection against people purging. So he was.
I imagine he goes to the 10 strength food once the run starts after 15 minutes, because you have to sit down.
He finds a gap to eat.
He got the cheeky one. So he clicked off Dark Moon Fair Spoke buff, which is basically used as a fodder for warriors. That's
you mean Darmal?
Darmal, sorry. Darmal. He clicks off Soulstone as well, which is also just like a trash buff in this sense for protection against purging. For the rest of the buffs that he has Darmal attack power. He has stamina from Dire Maul. He has Songflower Serenade. The unusual one that he has is Warchief's Blessing, which is mainly Horde buff. That's why it's so hard to get on Alliance. That gives 15% melee haste. Then he has a buff that's acquired via mind controlling a mob in Lower Blackrock Spire called, I think, Blackwing Spellcaster. And the priest that mind controls can give 1 hour fire resistance buff.
Is he running the LBRS buff, or is that not?
Yeah, it's not left of battle.
That's a fire resistance LBRS buff. So that one he's running, or I think everyone is running that. It's very useful in BWL. You can apply it to anyone. And then he is running the mega battle shout that we were talking about in previous one, which means only one warrior at level 50. Like the warrior can turn it in only once at level 50.
The Diamond Flask quest. When you
for
end
his
that
Diamond
chain,
Flask quest.
you get a big battle shout for 15 minutes, which is much better than a regular battle shout. It's like nearly double.
Did someone play again?
Yeah, I did. I'm just resuming, and I'm gonna.
I'm back at the start.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we're near the beginning.
I'm gonna.
Without interrupting further, which Zanza do you prefer? People have to pick between Speed Zanza, movement speed, Stamina Zanza, Spell Reflect Zanza, or Roids. They all share a slot, and you have to pick one.
You can change. You can have all the Zanzas and take one off, and use another one. Like I was. Sorry, go ahead.
Quickly, I'm a full speed chill. I think I've come around to the idea of full speed, and then swap to Roids after at Chromagus. Swap to Roids then.
Based on our run, with the lots of time wasted to waiting, we should have. If we knew that we were going to not be pulling in a mad hurry, then after Suppression Room, we could have swapped to Roids, and we would have always been in melee range or charge range to start every pack, at least as warriors. But I know going forward, we're going to minimize that downtime, so the speed potion, the speed elixir, whatever flask becomes better the more chain pulling you're doing, because you're not ever waiting.
I'm a massive speed chill as well. I think it's the one people generally underrate.
It'd be good to have one guy.
Where do you swap to? Do you use speed all the way through?
I think you swap for Even Rock. When you run up the ramp, then you swap for Even Rock. That's what I think.
That's sensible.
I think that's more sensible than what I think. Yeah, that's fair.
So you should have the rogue or whoever starting Neff continue it.
He sprints anyway, and it doesn't stack.
But does the sprint not... Do you sprint from the gate after Chromagus to Nefarian in the sprint duration? I don't know how long it lasts for. Not that long.
Yeah, you should be able to reach with sprint. Maybe I'm not a rogue. I don't know. I'll have to.
Or do you sprint Swiftness Potion?
You see them Swiftness Potion through the run. We'll get to it. But I just wanted to quickly.
This is going to be a 10-hour podcast. I can tell. We've had like 2 seconds of trash. Like at the first boss.
Zanza without this discussion coming up, because it's worth mentioning that every guild does this differently. So I think Apes are full Stam. I think Gussies were full Stam or full Roids. Basically, every guild has had a different choice of Zanza on their DPS warriors.
If you're double pulling the trash before on the ramp before after Firemore, before Ebon Rock and Flame Gore, when you're double pulling those packs, having the stamina the Apes do from the Zanza flask is really useful. And I think maybe going forward with these riskier strats, the extra health does become more important.
Yeah, can you leverage that extra health into
I want to make a prediction. I predict every top speedrunner will switch to speed.
I agree. I think they will as well. I think once they become more comfortable with the riskier strats, they'll hit a point where you can no longer leverage that extra health into speed, and you're just limited by movement speed and damage at that point.
Yeah, I think
so I'm with you, Dumpy. Interestingly, I will make one more further prediction. I think eventually with gear level, it'll get so fast that you'll get to a point where you're actually minimized entirely by the amount of damage, and it'll be Roids all the way through on DPS warriors, and it'll be casters that are limited in keeping up, like healers.
Yeah, I think that will be the case. All right. Continuing.
There's one other thing we should discuss that is on the screen right now. We can discuss it while this casual slashing is happening. So we see the setup of progress. Is this the perfect setup? Yes or no?
This is the setup I asked us to try and achieve. I think this is the perfect setup. And they may be laughing, going, oh, actually, we wanted this. But no, I think what they're running there is the perfect setup. However, I wouldn't be running a Moonkin. I'm not sure if they are. Are they running a Moonkin, or is that full resto?
They are. It's Moonkin.
It's going to be a caster Fairy Fire. Yeah, whether or not you call that a Moonkin, whether or not they have that talent points beyond that, I don't know.
The group is specifically tailored to give as much crit as possible. It's Moonkin.
So in terms of classes, I think it's perfect. What do you guys think?
I like it.
I think it doesn't really matter as much.
I'd replace one rogue with a warrior. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'd replace one yellow with a brown.
Okay. But
I'd have 4
is there
rogues,
better insurance though, or are you talking about the? Yeah, you're saying perfect in a vacuum.
Perfect, like
Because they might still be insurance on suppression room with another rogue.
Yeah, no room for insurance. We're now so optimized. You pick the perfect setup.
I think I don't know how many rogues you need for suppression room.
You go by player
as
as well, right? Maybe this rogue's like a top lad, and he's better on his rogue than a warrior. Or whatever.
He's got rank 15 gear.
Just purely from setup, I would say you would still swap probably 2 rogues to warriors. 1 or 2 rogues to warriors, then it's absolutely perfect. But
I agree.
at this level, you can't. You're choosing either your top 5 rogue or your top 25th warrior. So probably the rogue.
Yeah.
I think Druid should be a feral. Just putting that out there. I think the Druid should be a feral, and he should put on healing gear when he needs to heal, and he should be putting on his feral gear, and he should be fully spec feral.
I don't know if I agree.
I don't care about the leader of the pack. It's not for the leader of the pack. It's entirely his own. That's not the reason why.
I think if you have a Boomkin in a speedrun scenario, he can get paladins quite a bit of mana back, even though they should be already very high on crit.
They really shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah, but if you're running very few healers, the paladin's going to be casting max rank heals more often, and if they're not critting a substantial amount of time, they will be running out of mana. So that might be useful.
I think you bring Rest Druid.
I think consumes negate all of the mana. Like anyone has mana problems, dump more dark runes.
We have 3 different opinions about the Druid here. Everyone's of different opinion. I think Rest Druid is the only one that's pulling his weight in terms of just output. For the raid.
That's insurance. I think Rest is insurance, not optimal.
It's not insurance. I would not bring extra healers. I would just drop a priest and make him a Rest Druid.
You can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
But the thing is the reason why they don't want to drop priests is because you've got a priest in each group for prayer, which in BWL in particular is
that a requirement?
So strong.
Because you could have because you have one group that doesn't have a priest. Maybe they use more HP oriented consumes, or maybe gear.
It's the tanks. It's the tanks. The first group is the tanks.
Yeah, but we're talking about dropping another priest, Sam. So say
2 groups. Sorry, I thought that. Yeah.
So yeah, you drop.
I would get away. I would try to get away with it. That's my opinion.
So you would make the druid go full restore, dropping the crit in group 8, and you would drop the priest in group 2.
Yes.
Place with the warrior. Okay, I can see it. I mean, I disagree. I personally like having.
I mean, you could put a pally instead of the priest in there, and the fire as aura would already cover quite a lot of the AoE healing.
I don't know about that.
But anyway, we watched them quickly evaporate that boss. They had PvP trinkets, which they didn't need to use for the stun. They've now moved on to Veil. They start Veil ASAP, obviously to save time. They've got downtime here where they can check their buffs, etc., check their gear. Waiting for the 30-second. Is it 30-second, 45-second RP?
A while.
It's a long time.
Nothing they can do about it. I think they have one lad getting ready to move up and sort out the next piece of trash, like halfway through the boss fight. But basically, they have to wait for this. They all put on their gear. They pre-shield. They have fire prop pots. Yes, no. This Tetsu does not. He's still.
They don't. They used faps on brood on.
They used PvP trinkets on.
Did they?
Not Razorgore. Broodlord.
Yeah, well, they are saving a pot cooldown for swiftness after this.
These people are using very little fire pots. I checked the log. They used 1 fire pot over the run.
So the swiftness pot here, right?
Yeah,
they do.
They barely made it. Like the best case scenario is you kill it at 14 seconds, where you don't lose ward buffs on one person.
So we did the PvP trinket thing. We used this potion cooldown as a fire prop pot, I believe. We didn't swiftness pot. I think we're going to start using swift. We're going to steal that completely because I think it's. I think it's clearly very good.
Yeah, here they are doing one interesting thing on the Wormkin, is they are basically blinding it with rogues to interrupt the cast.
Yeah, I can see that's useful. It's only a global, right? And
yeah, right now blind. Yeah.
Yeah. They keep the captain in. Obviously, all the top guilds keep the captain in. They're dragging him towards the suppression room now to save time. Keeping Ridge, but they've got aspect of the red still. They're that fast, which they should do at this pace.
That's the benefit of the speed pot as well.
Here's the next big thing. They're going to not go down the right side. They're going to go down middle left. he mentions, and I can't say this, maybe you guys can bring this up, but the big thing here, what they tried to optimize but failed to do, is they tried to pull upstairs on purpose and pull all of the hatches, which is what I want us to do, and I've been calling for weeks.
They need to recruit someone from Praxis to pull it for them.
Which we accidentally did during Progress, which I think Apes did as well. But yes, they want to pull all the hatches and they failed to do so. That's something that I think every guild moving forward will attempt to do.
Yeah, that's a definite increase.
So they go left side, and we accidentally pulled here on one of our runs, as I say. I don't know what they're doing to try and force it. I'm not sure if they have someone run ahead. Does anyone know? There's one lad ahead there.
The way we pulled it is we were hugging the wall on the left, more or less.
It was either somebody AoEing, like on the very
Blizzard
edge of the
too
wall,
high,
or it was some large person jumping on the haystack.
Yeah, it was a person jumping on the haystack. That's why we pulled it.
So they attempted to do it on purpose. None of us knows exactly how, but they only get one hatcher, unfortunately. They wanted all of them. They got some whelps, he says. Yeah,
but they had very clean suppression. It's just they got one suppression off.
Look at their HP. None of them are running fire prop pots, and they're just
because everything dies before it.
Deal damage. Yeah.
They've still got Essence of the Red. It's so good.
Yeah, that's why we were originally wanted to wreck on Veil.
Yeah, Essence of the Red here is absolutely huge. If you can make it above the stairs with Essence
But people
of the
are going to
Red,
be killing. Do you reckon people can get on the boss with Essence of the Red? Like,
absolutely.
So we're 9 minutes 10 seconds on the video. Let's see how long it takes for them to pull the boss, because it's going to be before 10 minutes.
I think that's going to be the only major advancement in the next speedrun, in fact, because Progress are doing so much damage and otherwise flawless, really. I'm sure they probably know more than, like, we don't have the details that they do.
Pulling him at 25 seconds, 15 seconds quicker, and they're on the boss with Infinite Rage. Although, to be honest, with full consumes, he's spamming Heroic Strike and Bloodthirst every global. He's he's not really limited by Rage, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, but the dagger rogues with Aspect of the Red are nutty, and is that why they bring 5 rogues in? I wish we should have got one of them to come out in there.
Yeah, rogues are definitely stronger if you are like edging the maximum power of your Essence of the Red.
But I think the reason maybe they bring a 5th rogue because if they want to go really fast, they need 5 traps at a time down. Maybe they're limited by traps at that point when they're going that quickly. Again,
that might be true as well.
It'll be so
gives you more room to work with if you have more traps.
Got both right here. You could have seen that too.
Pull something from way ahead.
Oh, there's also a running theme of people swapping to fire resistance gear, at least like the bare minimum, to avoid like getting a large amount of stacks here. And we've seen Tetsu get the Blazing Emblem on and Ring of Fire resistance on, and he kept everything else on. Onyxia Scarecrow he already had on since Veil.
So guilds are running less and less fire resistance now, but people still put on fire resist. I think eventually we'll get to the point where people don't put on any. Basically,
definitely.
They'll use fire resistance or a LBRS group. They're not even using the fire juju because it's only like 15 or something.
On the one group has fire RS aura as well.
Yeah, so like it's getting to the point now where they're tuning so quickly that it doesn't matter. I mean, there's a sim online. Maybe you could link that below for people. You can sim what various amounts of resistance does in terms of your expected number of stacks you'll get on Fire Moth or a target kill time. Kill times will get so low that the only thing that matters is killing it faster, which means more DPS gear. And they're approaching that point rapidly now.
They're also rocking Dampen Magic.
True. They run that all the way through the suppression room and they remove it after this boss, I believe.
They also have it for the Death Talon pack. The Death Talon Pack has an Aura of Flames, which is greatly reduced by Dampen. So Dampen is also useful.
It dips on every stack, right? It dips from every stack.
Yeah.
Also, just think about game mechanics generally. Things like Death Wish being a debuff are fun because I think when Blizzard made it, it's a good buff, but it also has a downside because it makes you more vulnerable to spell attacks and lowers your armor. Or no, increases damage taken. That's fun because
you can resistant classic.
You can
PBC, it's a percentage.
So you pop it, try and kill a guy. He maybe bubbles and runs away, and all of a sudden 2 other enemies are coming to attack you in like a PvP scenario. You've done a misplay essentially in that scenario. So and you can't remove it because it's a debuff, not a buff. But in a speedrun scenario, it's really good because it's a debuff and it doesn't count towards your 32 buff limit. The same goes for the Aspect of the Red. It's a debuff, even though definitely Aspect of the Red, it's not a negative thing in any way, shape, or form, but it's still deemed a debuff, which is interesting because
for sure.
with the buff cap limit, these things are big differences. Like you're able to add that extra potion, add that extra trinket use, and to have that extra buff slot free for more damage, which is huge. I just thought that's interesting how certain beneficial things are seen as debuffs.
Debuffs. Yeah, definitely.
So they've done the tech back already. The first tech back's the easiest one, which there's no prep. Obviously, when you're going this fast, they just run in, and now they pull fire more. They don't run into the room, I assume, because of the patrol timing. They do the old-fashioned strat pulling against the grate. We pull it between the doors.
I love
what
this.
Do you think of that, wee wee? Not wee wee. Dumpy, we've got you on because you're the speedrun man. What do you think?
About the pull or whatever?
This
position.
This position and how they do it.
Quickly, it's about to die.
I mean, I think it doesn't matter where you fight him. You just pull him where it's like the closest wall you can pull him into, and you fight him there.
That'd be dynamic,
situation right now.
Yeah.
Can we watch that fire mob fight again?
Yeah, we should watch it like 3 or 4 times. We've got enough time to watch it 8 times.
Because just take a look at the damage chunks he takes from the fire stack. It stacks up quite high,
because they've got no fire resist. But as long as no one dies, it's perfect.
Fire resist. Yeah. He's 3 already, which is insane.
Yes,
that's unlucky. It's unlucky. He's resisted a stack.
Yeah, they wrecked here as well.
Now he used his emblem.
He used the emblem and resisted 3.
Super fine.
Stopped coming in.
But if
he got 4 stacks early, but then
if he continued on that trajectory, he'd be so dead. It's funny.
I think 10 stacks is when it starts getting really.
For a rank 14 warrior.
Don't look at how many stacks I had on our speed kill then.
Yeah, one person getting it fine, but as dealing it with as a healer, maybe Sam can say something. If everyone in the raid has 10 plus, then it gets a bit sketchy.
Yeah, you have everyone dropping down to half HP each take. Yeah, it's not healable in the long run. You can do it once, but not more than once.
The damper magic's removed now.
Yeah, dampers off. Immediately go. There's no mage pulling or paladin pulling like we do. They go straight in and start trooming. They pull.
A lot of the people spiked though.
Yeah,
they still have the grenade chain. Look, every cast is being interrupted from the technicians.
I'd want to pause it then, Sam, because this is a key difference amongst different guilds and how they handle it. So they go in on the Draconids, fine, but when the tech packs, they keep people safe by stunning the goblins with grenades. So they have a grenade rotation set up.
Yeah, take a look at the goblins in the corner. You will see there's a tiny flash of blue where the grenade hits, and it happens constantly, every 1.5 seconds. So they must have some kind of rotation to stagger.
They also had rotation of sappers in suppression room, which is very commendable. Usually you only call for sappers and the entire group sappers, and there's a lot of sappers going to waste.
Yeah.
And you would only resort to that if you are doing an extremely big pull.
This is one thing that we could definitely improve on, and other guilds can improve on, having more coarse, more fine-grained sapper and grenade.
I thought
our grenades are very coordinated, admittedly, for this bit, but they're...
Yeah, look at this. Interrupt.
I think the Chinese probably did the best for this, right? They had a coordinated mortar grenade rotation, which was very synchronized. It was very impressive. But clearly it's not needed. They kill everything so quickly. It's very, very organized, the grenades, and it's good enough.
Why do we not use the engineering trinket mortar grenade anymore?
Because it can stun AoE. You would need to be clear of everyone when you use it. And in our speedrun, we stunned about 20 people with it.
Oh, I see. I heard about the negative effect when you're reloading it, potentially dying.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to reload.
You'd rather just make a new one. You don't want to reload your mortar.
I mean, I was just going to plan to use shield wall when creating the reload. Because I think I'd survive the damage.
In a speedrun, we.
No.
Also,
yeah, but you're not reloading it in the raid. You can use it for the stun, but I only heard about the 10k damage on the reload.
Yeah.
And the Chinese used mortars, right? The Chinese used mortars.
I went back because Progress uses different strat apart from apes that are also were holding the world record until then. apes, what they do is the next 2 packs of technicians they pull together to potentially save time, which
I disagree with it. I
I
think
disagree with it as well.
I have checked the timers for it, and they're not really saving any time.
But in
They're
a
not
ideal
executing it well
scenario,
enough.
in an ideal scenario with perfect execution, do you not think that people would be double pulling?
No.
Do you not think in a perfect scenario you could pull Fire Maw plus extra mobs? In a perfect scenario, do you think that they could be trash attacking DPS warriors, proccing Enrage for increased damage? In a perfect scenario, do you not think that that is possible?
Well, they're different things, right? If we're talking specifically about the double tech pack, I think it causes too much stress on healer mana, and it becomes your limiting factor for the next pull. No, I mean the fact that our single pulling, which is not the best in the world, good. I shouldn't put myself down so much.
We're shit.
We're pretty good.
We're pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty good. We single pull fairly optimally, but by no means perfectly optimal. And Ape's double pulls are slower than our 2 single pulls. And Progress's double single pulls are significantly faster than any double pulls we've seen as far as...
Because they can just keep going. They don't need to spam spells to people dipping down.
Look at the comp. What do you gain? You gain very little by
Warriors
stacking
can hit 4
mobs.
targets, maximum 4.
You gain a sepper's worth of damage. Like you double your sepper. Instead of seppering 1 pack, you sepper 2 packs. But I don't think that's enough damage gain to justify it.
Okay, go continue. So yeah, here they pala pull or even just warrior pull.
Yeah, they don't do any
bring it down the
pulls,
stairs. Bring it down the stairs, and very nicely stacked up.
Grenades
they kill the grenades are very nice.
The stacking on the mobs for the cleaving is a little bit.
It was good at the start, but then they switched off a bit.
If you're half HP, you just kind of run around the mass mobs and go to the edge and attack one with less cleaving. I think that's how you play that. So you go balls deep, I'm low HP, run to the side, single target one on the edge, avoiding any AoE damage taken. So you can get recover heals.
It should be mentioned that some guilds skip this pack that they're fighting right now.
Which pack did you said?
I think it was it Goosey or Salad Bakers? I think it was Salad Bakers. So this is the pack that they skip, and instead they kill, because you have to kill a certain number of...
They kill the right one before Fire Maw. Or at Fire Maw.
Yeah, in the big room.
Which I like that. It gives you more time to get your FR gear on. And also cooldown usage, it could be better.
Yeah, they do it because, first of all, you don't have any line of sight issues. You don't have to run above a ramp. You have most of the techies at the same place. So you will grenade the techies and just mow them down. And here it is just a little bit more scuffed with the line of sight issues.
Aren't there fewer mobs
think the ranking
as well?
should allow you to skip both. If you can run past both, why not allow people just to skip both? It seems silly that you have to kill one of them.
I like that. Like if you can run past, like literally just see your mobs, like that should be easy. It should be, Did they decide to do that, Sam, though? Well, actually, you might want to pause it here because this is another discussion that we don't do, but we're going to start doing. But anyway, the tech pack discussion, does it depend on the patrol of Fire Maw at the time which one they pick, or do you think that these guilds always plan to pick the tech pack that they want to kill?
I think they always
they have a I think they have a plan. I think there was no reason to not, if they wanted to kill the pack in Fire Maw's room, I think there was no reason to not kill it this run. You could just kill Fire Maw. Everyone's 8k health, you can just charge in and do your normal thing. I think there was...
So which guild's correct? That's why we're here. This is what the discussion is the best for the point. Like, which guild is it right?
I think it disrupts the flow because you are stuck at one place and you are not progressing further. So I think progress is right. I think it's a waste of time essentially to kill it now when you can you have to clear a pack that's literally next to the pack that you are skipping on the top floor.
This pack they choose to clear is definitely closer. It feels more convenient to pull. It's the one we've always done since we've started taking speedrunning seriously, I think. And I think it's what most guilds do. I think most guilds use the strategy that Progress are doing here. Other than double pulling and stuff aside, these are they select this trash as the ones they kill for the rankings. Yeah.
Have
So
we
I think
lost,
this is the.
Have we lost Dumpy?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we don't
don't
see you
froze.
though.
No,
You
I
froze.
think my
don't be
camera
careful.
broke.
It's okay.
You
See if
fall
I
on
can
the
do something about it.
Okay.
In the meantime, we can hear you though. That's fine.
Yeah.
You've gone to
So
sleep.
this-
Your eyes are closed.
For
Th-
people
this-
watching, it looks like you may have done a death on us.
We're too boring.
Oh, he's fallen asleep.
So yeah, these worm guards are also interesting topic because you need to be like you need to have a certain amount of raid damage to be able to sustain killing them fast enough for them to stack. Because you can have they can either be sleeping your main tank, which drops aggro. They can be making your tank spin.
That's messed up the webcams.
Is
Yeah,
that
that's
messed
gonna.
up the overlay for you?
It's okay.
Do you wanna pause? Do you wanna pause and then just cut it?
I mean, I don't know. Fuck it.
We'll do
Okay,
it live.
we
But,
do it live.
But yeah, you see that all the guilds that do this, Sam, they all use Deathwish, yeah, right? They
Yeah,
all use.
You have to. You have to.
See, now this is something that I'm contending with. If they Deathwish, yeah. Oh, is Dumpy back? I'd be curious to think what Dumpy says on this.
Don't assume that he's back.
Let's not assume he's back.
I see you lighting up, but don't hear you, Dump.
I'll ask him.
Here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I can hear you now.
No visual.
Let me see if I can do something about it. But yeah, where were we? I dropped.
Well,
from-
the order of the camp. First of all, the order of the people in the call is probably.
Oh yeah, the
probably-
names are all messed up. Yeah,
Now the
I'm
names are
Sam.
messed up. So maybe we should fix this and come back.
Oh no, we're
Never
good.
mind,
We're
it's
good.
fine.
Perfecto. Just
Can
wait.
we make?
Good.
Hi, Dumpy.
Perfect.
I have camera back.
Nice.
Production value.
Production value. We do it live. So what we were discussing is it worth stacking the worm guards for Deathwish?
Well,
I
no,
think
that's two separate questions.
Most definitely yes. This is definitely the way to do it. You're getting a warrior doing cleave, like spamming your cleave hotkey. You're gonna do like probably flat 2k DPS with Deathwish, and on single target it's gonna be like 1.5k.
Can I just
It's
point?
just straight up damage increase.
Can I just point out the HP of Windforce on this paused? I don't know if we're all on the exact same millisecond on the stream.
He dies, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Does he die?
Yeah, he's dead. He
Oh.
dies.
I think he's dead. So
They
yeah,
use,
that's
they use someone who's their other tank. Who's their backup tank? I can't remember his name. Bobber. They use Bobber for the rest of the run as
Because
well.
yeah.
on the Guzzy stream, the main tank Pov, he's charging and almost dying on on this pull. Like people, I hope understand that. I'm surprised that I know Progress in particular. The last 3 attempts haven't been good for them. Like they've tried at least twice this Dark Moon Fair cycle. Just to reiterate, you need the Dark Moon Fair buff for 10% more damage, so everyone does their speed runs whilst Dark Moon Fair is around.
Yeah, there's no doing this without DMF.
But yeah, like I'm surprised that people are getting so many good runs in when it is a limited time to get the extra damage buff, as well as not wiping because of tanks being and the raid in general being so quick and being like playing it so close to the edge. Like it's really good to see.
You're not wrong.
I'm impressed that they are, because I mean obviously with these good players, if you're any of the paladins in this raid, you are spamming lay on hands on that 12% HP warrior right now. Same with anyone. If anyone goes low,
Is a failing of the strategy, or it's just a risk that the healers need to account for, the tank needs to account for, that when you pull these worm guards, you're going to get hit by all 3 temporarily as the other tanks pick them up. It's just a failing of the tanks, failing of the healers. What do you think?
can we rewind it a bit?
Who's at fault? Yeah, there's a death. Obviously,
It's hard to
death's
see
not-
from this POV because you don't know which worm guards are attacking which. It might be the tank runs in, cleaves, gets hit by 2 of them straight away. Also, they're using dual wield weapons. None of the tanks wearing a shield, so it could be they're unlucky with crushes.
They
or
cannot
crits.
use a shield in this high damage
Yeah.
scenario.
I'm just saying that
Okay, yeah, let's see what happens.
there's some variation of incoming damage.
So I have the death log from Warcraft logs of Windforce in front of me right now,
Mhm.
and it's just melee attacks from the worm guards.
Out
There's
of
no especially bad luck. It's just all of them attacking him.
All 3.
all
So they
three
should be one-
constantly attacking him over 3 seconds, and
So-
he.
I'm so
There's no
annoyed
gauge.
that on this raid frame you can't see what the rage and the mana bars are for the raid, because
Mm.
it'd
Oh,
be
nice
so
to see
nice
that.
to know.
He doesn't show that, to be honest. But I guess he doesn't make raid leading calls,
He doesn't
right?
care.
So-
Yeah, it's minimum information
Yeah.
that means that he can do damage. You know.
Yeah. So are the hunters to blame then? Why? I can see triangle was range pulled. I'm pretty sure. Like, why was cross and triangle hitting Windforce? Did he?
Well, you can see the
Thunder
cross
Fury,
tank on the left
Cleave, etc.?
is a little bit behind the other two. I don't. Which
True.
one's Windforce? Is he the center one?
It's the center one.
Yeah. So the left-hand side guy might be a bit.
So Bob has got cross. I don't know who their third tank is.
Is it
That'll
C?
be Hatter maybe, or or the other warrior in that group, Niru. Yeah. So
They all look picked up relatively okay.
I don't think they look picked up. They're not all hit. So it's just
One
one,
of-
worm guard killed him.
Skull's facing the wrong way because I think a DPS, Cornell or someone had aggro of
No,
Skull.
Skull's hitting Windforce.
Did he
And
maybe
now,
AoE
now
taunt?
he's getting spiky. And he's dead.
Did
it
he
was-
maybe AoE taunt from the DPS?
Possibly.
Let's see.
Or the healers were not healing the tank because the tank didn't have aggro, and 2 seconds later
And
he
I,
died.
I think it's 3 cleaves.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm gonna piss off Samia and say that's healable.
It's melee attacks. The logs say it's melee attacks.
Could
They
be.
all target him.
I think that's
Oh.
healable. Looking at his health bar right now, watch me eat my own words here, but I think this should be healable.
Yeah,
There was-
they do turn.
Yeah,
it
that's
looks
totally
like.
healable.
One on
I
the
think
right
that's
looks like it turns.
that's healer fault. I'm sure
Yeah.
they're trying to get a healer
I
for that. Sorry,
think-
Sam, that's healer fault.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, lay on hands
Uh,
can be used at any time to basically save a life.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they have
it's-
There is-
set down hands for
There's
bosses.
one more thing we should talk about for the packs we just killed.
Mm.
So, you might ask, what's the best way of using potions as a melee? Probably you want to use rage potions for more damage, right?
Max
they
Magic
used it
last
here.
time.
Well,
Max
yeah,
I
no,
Magic-
can't tell if you're about to teach us a lesson or you're trying to say that rage potions are good. I, think
mean,
you're going to
yeah,
teach us a
no.
lesson.
I want it to be the rage potion chill, but you need free action potion on this pack.
Oh,
There's
100%.
three packs of this type, and you need the free action potion here.
But you don't
Like,
get
it's
it for the
most
next
damage you
pack.
will get.
They kill
the
Ebon Rock and
potion-
Flame Gun. I don't think they have it ready, do they?
Oh, it might be on
this is
cooldown.
the point I made,
Let's see.
actually.
Guzzy,
Well,
Guzzy had it on cooldown.
Well, I'll tell you, spoilers.
He
it
just
does.
used it now.
Yes,
on this
so
pack.
one thing that we'll see, we'll discuss it when it happens again, when he finds he can't fap on the next pack. I'll wait to then.
I'm also
But yeah,
supposing there's a 15-minute cooldown on these mobs from when they pull to when they use their first stun. Because I think it's very deliberate that Tetsu is not fapping on the pull. Or as soon as
Well,
he's in melee
that's
range, he's
something I'm
waiting.
gonna
They're like
say.
80%
I think,
HP.
it should be,
Then
I think
he's
it should be pre-fapping 10 seconds before the fight.
true because they kill it within the fap. But I still think on evidence that I've seen so far, they don't stun that quickly on the pull. In the same way that
Oh, yeah.
Firemore doesn't breath that quickly into the pull. Which is obviously
So-
needed to get behind him in a more traditional pull.
Here he is saying that they basically planned to do double drakes, but since Windforce died, they had to optimize the strategy.
I really
So
like
that-
these on the fly decision making. I think that's the most fun
Mm.
for the speed run.
So their initial plan was to double pull the dragons and kill them simultaneously, but that obviously didn't happen. But they end up being buffeted next to the guy. I don't know if that was deliberate or not.
I don't
but
think so. This is also
They get
wi-
wing buffeted and pull it, and that is one way that can invalidate their logs.
and it did initially.
I don't think
think.
they're considering that at all, Sam.
And they don't. No, of course. They are not
they're
considering
wanting
it at
the,
all.
wanting the double pull anyway, so
Yeah.
But it's
And
interesting they're
and-
killing it on the
Go on.
ramp.
mm.
I've never seen anyone kill it on the ramp before.
Oh, it's a very famous
that's
private
the-
strategy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
that's just the way forward. And I think we're going to be doing that from now on. I don't think we're going to be double draking. I think we're going to be pulling the second drake and execute phase, basically.
Mm.
Okay, so now the potion is on cooldown.
Which is the spoiler I was going to say. I think he should have pre-fapped the first fap 15 seconds.
And he could be
before-
fapping
and he
again,
would-
yes. In
yeah.
5 seconds, he could be
It's
fapping.
still super tight, because if you
But
pop
you
too
could
early,
PvP
then maybe
trinket
the
as
stun is
well.
delayed.
I think you can PvP trinket more than just on the first boss.
Also, what I think they did wrong here is everyone is very eager to go in on those Dragonkin packs as soon as they go in, but they have a set stun that happens about 5 seconds into the fight. So, and you can see, like, in 5 seconds you will see 20 warriors being stunned, and I think they can avoid it by just waiting 5 seconds and then gaining all that time
I don't
Back.
think.
Yeah, that's
I
a
don't think
mistake.
so. I don't
Or
think
you
so.
could
It's a window.
pre-equip PV
So they will
trinket or something.
stomp now, and you can see entire like raid basically is stunned.
I don't
And-
think that's right. I think you have
Y-
to go in because I was saying that I think they have like a 15-second cooldown on the pull. Obviously, they pulled within 5 seconds into the pull, so that disregarded that I was saying. But so if they stun between, let's say, 5 and 15 seconds into the pull, you can't potentially be out of the fight for 15 seconds trying to bait that first stun.
Interesting thought. Can you pull the first triple Wormkin pack before killing the last tech pack? Can you pull them through without aggroing the tech packs?
Interesting. I
could.
like it.
I think you could.
So you can
This
use
gives
your
you
Pokemon-
Definitely
saves,
before
like,
one.
This probably saves 10 seconds because they were stunned for 10 seconds. That's a big time save.
Can you do it? Do you think you can pull the triple worm pack?
At least
before
one
killing
I think
pack,
you
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so,
I
yes.
think you can. I think you'll just end up with not having enough space. But if you are stacking them, that doesn't already matter.
It seems
So-
weird by Blizzard if you could literally just walk and skip both trash packs. Although I suppose you'd always want to
can.
because of the extra room you get. For
Well, they
the...
kill both. They kill both tech packs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you
yeah.
can kill
But
one of the tech
from a
packs,
Blizzard
create-
making the game point of view, it'd be weird game design if they had 2 packs on either side and you could just go down the middle. But because of those 3 worm guard dudes, you'd want the space anyway that would have you want to kill those tech packs.
So yeah, I have the hunch it's possible, and it's definitely going to allow you to FAP on both Draconic packs. So I think
Which
if
is
it's possible, it's 100% the way to do
And
it.
I'm sure Progress
No,
know
for us-
this as well. by
For
now.
us, well, I mean, yeah, we assume that they've also come up with the same idea, looking at because they'll probably review this mod as well. Like
More than we
Yeah.
do, even if
More
we've
than-
been on it for an hour.
we're just doing it for a bit of an interesting topic, and they're the best at it currently. So it could be anyone. But for us, it's not really appropriate because we don't kill the drakes fast enough that we get potion locked.
Aw.
But eventually, we'll get to a point where we do get potion locked, and I think that is one strategy we could implement. So that's one thing we can take away from this: that we've come up with a new strategy. Right?
Yay!
Potentially.
Post on Reddit, quick, get 10 karma, KW.
Right.
Because no
So
one,
they-
like, there's like 100 people like maybe like 1,000 people in the world that care.
So they pull Chromagus and they kill it where it stands to save time. They don't bother pulling it to the gate like everyone does. I assume,
Why though?
So because essentially they all get into the room fast enough anyway. Like they'll have someone at the gate
Yeah.
ready to go. I'm assuming a rogue is going to move out. Okay, so it's 5 vulnerability, so they all pop this up as
This
their
was
last-
awesome.
I mean, we do
this
this.
was-
We do
Yeah,
that.
this
stuff.
was so awesome to watch.
But it looks
Just
okay.
How much
Yeah,
did he hit
Chromagus-
for?
up.
Interestingly, they don't give a fuck about time lapse. So what we do is we tell warriors to stay in if it's time lapse, so that they just don't care. It's whoever gets aggro, probably tanks, I assume, or their off tanks just so good.
If you have lay on hands spare, you just do it on the guy who pulls, or you bop
Yeah.
them.
So they didn't start moving because they had breath due, so they were not sure if they
Oh,
can.
is that why? Okay.
But
They
again,
were
as long
lucky
as
they
there's a
could make it in
rogue
time.
there, or whoever's starting the fight there, it doesn't matter if these guys are 10 seconds late.
Yeah. Why do
Look
guilds
how
move
excited he is in the
then? You need to turn
corner.
it down now. It gets loud. The rest of the run gets really loud. By the way, you may want to. Do
It's
it.
been
Yeah,
muted
you-
since Vale, it's fine.
Good.
Yeah, okay, he gets very excited. Yeah, and rightfully so. The pace is fucking insane.
Roids
they-
go on.
Pulling
They
Chromagus.
swapped droids this late, so that's also kind of interesting.
I
Yeah.
think
I think that's a
I'm with you,
misplay.
You swap to Roids before Drakes. Absolutely, 100%.
I think only the last person should. Who's the last person potentially that to go into Nefarian Room casters probably, right?
That's the point I'm
No,
making. Sam,
melee.
is
It's got to be
that
put
why
behind the
guys-
boss. It's
still
proximity
have to wait-
based, I
You
think.
have to wait for the first person to get to Nef anyway. So
Mhm.
Plenty of time.
why do guilds drag Chromagus to the gate? You're not saving any time. You're just making it slightly less damage from the movement, potentially. Probably not, because you've got so many melee. But like,
Unless you want that 5 seconds of drinking time, but there's plenty that you're waiting for now.
yeah,
you
I
can-
don't understand why they do it, or why they wanted to do it here, for example. But like, is it? Well, am I right in saying that by the time the rogue reaches Nefarian, everyone's in the room anyway, no matter where
It
you
should be. Yeah, it should be.
And you could probably
So-
res people and still make it in time before the rogue starts.
Speed
Yeah.
Zanza or
Maybe
anything
not,
to be
but
had,
close.
yeah, or anything like that. Like, there's no reason to be running Speed Zanza at this point on anyone, as Dumpy pointed out.
So just to clarify, what he did here is he swapped his Swiftness of Zanza with Roids because those two are mutually exclusive. They don't stack. So Roids means more damage and they don't really need to move anymore. So that's what happened. Yeah,
And he goes
here
for a
he's
full
good.
strength food. Yeah, this is the
They're
cheapest
still
strength food.
17 minutes in. Oh my god.
Mm.
It's so quick. No wonder he's excited after Grey Maggers.
Oh, that's the point. They run Cloak the entire time
Yeah.
on my DPS basically since Veil. They just run Cloak
That's
full
not
time. which-
optimized. Unless you are so
No, it
optimized you
is.
never exit combat, then it becomes...
Yeah,
Don't-
that's what.
don't fuck item rack. The number of times I've heard, "Oh, item rack fucked me." Like I'm with them
I
here.
like item rack.
I love it, but it's not consistent enough for over 40 people. It's bound to fuck up on one person. If it fucks up on one person,
happy
you've
with
already
it.
lost all the advantage you've had by micromanaging your cloaks. I'm with
Yep.
them here. You leave the cloak on the entire time.
Yeah. In this case, I think safety
I'll
first.
Yeah,
take
until
that
you're
over-
playing like a robot, yeah. But I do like item. I use item rack.
Right, after turning down on mine, he gets very excited.
Well, this is just boring phase 1 Nefarian.
Oh, I mean, Nefarian is boring by itself.
There's
Ooh.
nothing to discuss. Yeah, they've swapped to roids. They're here. He's put on music. He's tuning. He knows it's world record, but they're waiting for the boss, and they're hoping that they don't get
So,
any
yeah,
paladin calls.
Yeah,
Did they get
the
any
only
paladin
thing
calls? I can't remember.
I think they don't. I think salad bakers were the ones that got paladin call.
At what point do you sacrifice all your paladins with divine intervention, just so you don't run into
Well,
paladin?
did we work out that the chance of getting a call is proportional to the number of classes that you have with you?
Yeah, we still don't know.
Because you don't get warrior calls. Because if that was the case, you'd be getting warrior calls constantly, right?
Yeah, we don't get that many
Mhm.
rogue calls either, and it's just warriors and rogues.
And if the class is dead, does it remove them from the calls?
Also, you could
I
have
thought
one.
that's how it works, but I don't know.
You could have one paladin survive if you did want to order them because he just
You could
sits in
make
the
them half
DI.
out, but you'd lose your buffs.
Yeah, you would use that's a bigger hit.
Nah, you just have to hope. You have to pray that you don't get paladin calls and kill the boss fast as possible. I think.
You
don't
you
think-
basically have to have paladins on high alert whenever there's a call about to be swapped, and they
Or
all need
outrange
to
it potentially if there is a range on it.
You
that
cannot
we
you
don't
cannot
know.
outrange it.
If you bubble it, yeah, if that works.
You can
Yeah,
bubble
so
it.
if
Yeah.
all 3 have bubble ready.
Then never mind, that's good enough.
So you can only do one call basically. You can always guarantee that you don't get paladin one call by all bubbling one call. But how many calls do they get? I want to say 5.
So 30 seconds per, so it should be 5.
What I don't
30
like here is
seconds
he doesn't diamond flask on the pull.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
he
think-
forgot to use his diamond flask.
Oh, okay. Because that
I mean, it's
triggers
always easy
me.
for us to backseat game, and it's like hard.
They were
Yeah, yeah.
pretty sloppy with their damage flash. Maybe it's part of the cloak argument, like it's not consistent enough to gear swap. Maybe that's why they're not using. Because if you have to wear it well in advance for a boss, then you're not wearing a trinket while you're preparing for the boss. So
I think he wore Hand of Justice and DFT for most of it.
Did he ever put
So-
on a diamond flask? Actually,
Yeah,
I
he
did.
did.
so
He
at
did
least
just
once.
he did just before nerf.
I mean, he's not used his diamond flask at all here.
It's not on.
So he hasn't.
He
put
has it on. I think he has it on, but he
That's
just
really bad
forgot
if it's
to
not
use it.
on. There's no way
Sorry.
that he would be in progress and not use diamond flask if it wasn't on.
That's true.
It was on.
okay, run over, pause the video.
Rewind it. Do it another 3 times.
So, question is, what was the deciding factor? Why were they this fast?
I think execution. They were just almost flawless.
That's an easy answer though.
Yeah.
I
And,
think there is one very obvious answer.
Time between pulls.
I think
Confidence.
Damage.
Preparation.
Yeah, like they're just their
I
damage.
think it's just damage.
Yeah,
They have the best 40-man team, just the best DPS out of any of the top guilds right now. I think in terms of execution, there is basically no difference between Goozy and Progress and Apes and
That's because the fights are easy, isn't it?
Not really.
Yeah.
I think it's not just because it's easy though. It's because you have to hit a
Well-
certain speed barrier before it becomes damage limited rather than
Yeah.
strategy limited. And I think this is the very first week where we can say it's, as Dumpy says, it's basically just coming down to damage now. Before that, superior strategies were winning out, but now the strategies are matured to a point where we're doing the same strategy as them pretty much across the board almost. Yeah, there's some micro optimizations, but we've even micro optimized there. Like for example, the potion cooldown on the Draconids, which we're going to do, they'll probably do, etc. At this point, it is coming down to damage, right?
Yeah, I think the big push that caused that was the CG buff. I think everyone has so much stamina that you can get away with taking huge hits. You can choom through the trash. You can, as long as you do the possible things like interrupting bombs and not standing in AoE, then you can ignore the rest of the fight because you have massive stats and just focus on the damage part.
Which doesn't take away their achievement, by the way. Like we're not criticizing by saying this. It's if anything, it's a compliment.
It's like I'm so impressed
strategies.
by these guys.
They have the best
well.
strategies. I'm not denying that, but in terms of how much time they save with their strategies, it's completely even between the top guilds.
Yeah, I agree. It's coming down to damage now, and that's largely gear, I want to say, but it's also cooldown management and stuff. I mean, we just took the piss about poor cooldown management, which may or may not be true. But I think in the heat of the moment, when you've got that much on your mind to do, that even the best players will make small cooldown mistakes. I know I did on our last speedrun.
Particularly if you're only able to do a speedrun during the finite Darkmoon Fair window, which I always go on about. But it's good. Like in terms of gameplay, in terms of, you know, it's like saying, oh, we're having a 100-meter Olympic race every day for the next 20 years. Like, who cares? If it's every 4 years, it's so much more special, and it's who can turn up on this predetermined day and make it count. That's way more prestigious than just, oh, everyone's running speed runs every single day. But this also brings us back to like the griefing and playing on a PvP server as well. It is difficult when people know that you're going to be trying to do these speed runs. But also these guys like Progress playing on a higher pop server, more world PvP, do you reckon because they're obviously logged out for a long period with their Darkmoon Fair buff, long after Darkmoon Fair has ended, do you reckon that there's an element of that time delay being there because they're wanting to have horde?
I just thought about that now that you said that. I think the element is you get information from other guilds. You get information on their strategies.
Yes, because we said that we're rank 13, but then when everyone else does this Darkmoon Fair cycle, we're rank 30.
They want to see our run, so they can do.
But that's
I see. Praxis are the main threat. You see, you've got to see our runs. No, but that is true, and I think there's also a certain element of how safe you play it. If you're targeting world record and you know you
can't play it safe.
I mean, you can to an extent, like. And maybe there is some consideration when you make calls where you look at the time and you go, right, we're the last ones to run this DMF cycle. We know everyone who we have to beat. There's no competitor who's going to run after our run. We're the last ones to run. There is probably a certain element of like, oh, we're 30 seconds ahead. Let's not do the super risky secret strat we were going to do. I mean, I not suggesting that's what happened here, but like, I know for a fact, if I was raid leading in that point, I would definitely be looking at the time and going, lads, we're on for a world record. Let's not do the stupid thing that we were going to experiment with.
Yeah, like keep it in your back pocket for before phase 5.
And you also get strategy ideas as well, right? Like if you
watch one other thing. Also, sorry to interrupt, but just we've seen a couple of speedruns during this week. We've been in Discord. We've been watching YouTube videos and even live streams of various guilds attempting speedruns, and like half of them are just failed runs. Somebody makes a mistake or something unexpected happens, and when you do a run this late, you get to see all the problems that arise, like going for the absolute most risky plays. You don't know what will be risky because you don't have any way to test these things until right now. There is no testing potential. You have to come up with a strategy and then execute it. You get exactly 2 chances on Darkmoon week, basically.
Yeah, I agree. And even now, say it was still Darkmoon Fair and we've just watched this run live and it just happened and we can go tomorrow with full Darkmoon buffs. Like, there's certain things we've learned from watching this together now that we could improve on, even though we're not
if we were Guzzy or Salabakers or any of the mega top guild.
Like when you see the point there when they're like, oh shit, my pot's on cooldown. That was clearly a miscalculation from whoever came up with that strategy. They clearly thought they would have FAP available for both Draconid packs, but they were faster than they were expecting. We could then look at that and go, well, let's pull the first Draconid pack earlier, so we've got pots for both. Like, is what we came up with. Like, there's a big advantage of going last. Not to say Progress won because they copied other people's strategies and then implemented them better or anything like that. But it is an advantage going last in a cycle.
Yeah, and also like there's another thing that like gear plays such a huge value here, and basically it's gonna come down to what raid is the most lucky on loot. That's gonna be the fastest.
Well, I wonder how many people in our guild regret not ranking now.
Quite a bit, I suppose.
We
But,
have how many rank points? We lost one. We've got
We have 2, 3 technically.
We've got 2 warrior rank points.
The weapons are not the big deal. We have so many
The
Imperials.
gear is the big deal.
We don't really
The stamina
use
and
the
the armor,
weapons,
Jumpy.
but the armors are amazing. Like we have like one item out of the whole armor arsenal per Fury Warrior right now. Like one guy has leggings, one guy has boots, one guy has shoulders. It's like nobody has access to a full set apart from the rankers.
And I'm going to
rank
say,
13.
I made going to rank 13 super easy on our server, and every single warrior in Praxis could have taken it. Not to go into Praxis internal politics on a podcast, but I think more warriors in our guild should have ranked. I'm sure there's guilds out there going, could have really done with that rank 13 gear right now.
Yeah, because you don't know, like, say if you're a Salad Baker's a Guzzi or whatever, you wouldn't necessarily know that you were going to be contending for world first speedruns. I mean, you'd like to think that you could, but when you see the competition, like, you don't necessarily know that all of Apes are going to be rank 14 or, 90% of Progress is going to be rank 14. You don't necessarily know these things ahead of time. And
I mean, Apes have better gear than Progress.
Yeah,
I would say got more rank
but
14.
they don't run as like they have less streamlined comp. Basically, they have more casters.
They ran like 3 mages or something.
Yeah.
worse racials.
I mean, yeah, human racials, etc. But like, being on. Oh, Dumpy's gone again. Bye, Dumpy.
Bye.
Oh, I turned off my light.
You've gone very dark. We can see.
Why is it? What the
we
fuck?
can see a
It's
blue
completely
pixel.
Black, dude.
Oh shit!
Holy fuck, Dumpy. I'm surprised we didn't see
Nice.
your headphones.
Just like Dumpy's about to do some like I don't know.
So
what.
Show.
what happened is I stepped on my like
Cable.
extension cord and it flipped the switch.
Dude,
Well, at least
don't
you turn your
everything
fucking
was-
don't have that plugged into your computer. I've been there before.
Yeah, and I think like you need to do a big amount of splits to actually like the gear doesn't end with rank 14, right? So you have like a lot of
at this point. I'm gonna go out there and say it even further that like no amount of split rating is going to change like be better than people going rank 13, 14. And
no,
getting
of
it.
course not.
Like
But
how many rank 13, 14s does Progress have versus Apes?
no idea, but if you go to like you say you get a rank 14 warrior, right? And he has just rank 14. The warrior still has like a lot of stuff to get from raids. Like he has rings, he has accessories, belt, all these things that are primo loot that you have to accommodate for 20 people. So I think it's a lot of the big guilds are actually running 3rd splits now, and they will even probably start running 4th splits just to supply enough gear to warriors.
I mean, we 2 split, and I think we're going to stay with a 2 split. I don't think we're going to move on from that. And we haven't got very many rankers, so we would probably get the most benefit from moving to a 3 or a 4 split. But
Oh, it must be demoralizing doing a 4 split in a guild full of rankers just for a trinket.
Yeah, but that's what it comes down to in terms of damage. As very soon, I think, because as you said, the execution is there. Now it's literally just like damage. Damage is all you need. So
yeah, I think only this is only talking at the very top though. I think, for example, ourselves, we can cut our time massively, not through better gear, but just better play. When you get to this level, I think it matters a lot more. Yeah, how many Empyreans they have from a lockdown Kazakh, how many rank 14s they have.
Going back to Tetsu and Nefarian, wearing that Dammer Flask would have done more damage than wearing rank 14, presumably.
Yeah, again, like mistakes like that with cooldown management and stuff are far more important.
But going down the road as progress get better and better, and
Yeah.
use their consumables or whatever optimally, then obviously they run away with the damage at rank 14.
I mean, are you certain he actually put Diamond Flask on, or was he not just running?
I mean, regardless, it should have been used if it's off cooldown.
True. If it was off cooldown at the start, you should have swapped to it for sure.
Like if it's on and not used, that's
So
like
it was-
massively bad.
Let's see.
Yeah, that should have been
Yeah.
equipped and used. Fair enough. I can see it at the bottom right. You should have used it. But
Yeah.
well, I mean, I completely. I'm not going to be that backseat warrior who goes,
No,
No,
yeah,
no.
you can't. Yeah, that's
It's
wrong,
just
actually.
it's just a
Things like-
personal mistake. Like
I mean,
these
I'm
happen.
Just dig up some power kills.
Yeah,
Jump on
obviously
our-
go through a video of our speedrun and take the piss. Honestly, like it's fair enough. Like I've made.
I mean,
mistakes,
they
but-
did an amazing job. Like one warrior not equipping Diamond Flask
Oh,
on
I've just
Nev.
seen something disgusting. He's got the 2 healing maces. I'm gonna have to go and delete my character.
What would be good after doing a deep dive on this progress kill? I don't know if the viewers of the podcast care, but it would be really fun to do another one when progress or whatever guild come in and get a new world record and beat them, because we've gone into a fair amount of depth. Yeah, I don't think we'll be making a 1 hour 30 podcast again solely about Blackwing Lair speedrunning, but we've gone into enough depth that I'm excited to see the next speedrun, because assuming that like the audience and everyone have understood and come with us to this point where we all 4 of us are now, it'll be really fun to see how it goes on, because it'll only be like a bit of a nuance or maybe some different orders or
It has to be
consumes.
significant
It won't be
enough
massive.
different, right? But what me and Doug seem to think is that it will just come down to damage. So any new video will just be like the same as this, but with more damage, which really isn't interesting to comment on, other than, oh yeah, they did more damage.
Because you reduce it down to a patchwork fight, essentially. If everyone's consuming the same, trinketing the same, and doing the same tactics on every single fight.
Hey, maybe the next big speedrun thing will be the trash skip meta. Maybe the next one's that. Maybe we're going to try and bring about the... I'm full
That
trash
would be
skip,
amazing. Everyone's like on the same second for regular
Yeah,
speedrun.
within 5
like Everyone's
seconds.
tied.
And it
Everyone's
becomes
tied.
a bit like a lot of the speedrunning community for other games comes down to RNG, where they like roll high or roll low on, 10 different big die roll within the game. And it could just be things like Chromagus. It could be not using any FAPs and RNGing the stuns. I don't know, something crazy like that. And just doing the optimum damage throughout, disregard all mechanics, all chances. Say there's a 90% chance that you're going to get stunned or killed, you forego any of that, and 1 in 10 of your speedruns, assuming that you're able to play perfectly outside of the RNG, you get that 19-minute 50 run or something. And that
Have
might
you
be
guys
what
watched any?
Yeah.
This reminds me of Pokemon speedruns.
Yeah,
Have you guys watched any Pokemon
yeah.
speedruns?
I used to watch a lot of Pokemon
It's like
speedruns.
there's some streamers who run it, and then
They reset
like,
for
they have
8
this-
hours just trying to get a good Squirtle.
the run counter is ticking there, and then somebody asks like, "Oh, Mr. Streamer, how many times have you got the satisfactory RNG in these 20,000 runs?" And he goes like, "Oh, still 0. I need more runs."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the next step, which is not one we want to see, the mystic shit of, how about RNG manipulation in World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Trying to manipulate the speedrun RNG somehow.
We just need to reset the
Obviously, we're never gonna
server.
get to that point. Yeah, obviously we're never going to get that point from a server, but I think any run moving forward will not be much different from this unless there is a big change in rules, or I don't think there'll be anything worth a full episode on, but more like, here's what happened in recent news. X guild got the new world record. What did they do differently? Did more damage.
Yeah.
There'll be more, it won't be an in-depth run through, I don't think. But
I'm a little sad that 5 Priest Sakar is not a competitive
It's a
venue.
20-man.
Like, I thought that's an interesting, but I guess that's also just comes down to damage at this point. It's even more boring than BWL.
Yeah, less room for creativity.
it
Yeah,
was the
just
most
damage.
interesting content in Classic. If the servers
For a day.
I'm not going to go. I'll not go on that rant.
No,
again,
for
because we
like
had
an hour and a half. An hour is the most interesting, including the servers are falling over themselves on launch from midnight to when it was first killed, or the first 2 or 3 guilds. That's when it was fun.
So how about going forwards? how about AQ speedruns? What will that look like? More interesting?
I don't know anything
I think
about
that there will
AQ.
be
More
more
competitive?
casters there. There will be more casters there, and it's gonna be it's gonna boil down to Ignite RNG later on.
Why does everyone keep thinking? I don't know where this.
I think
Casting.
so.
In his, no, I'm gonna say it's gonna still be Brown Town.
Brown
It's gonna
Town.
Could be.
Warrior bias, I know, but like the sheer nature of speedrunning, especially if there's no trash skipping involved, just being able to do max damage whilst moving and
No
not have to
mana
stop
That's
regen.
big,
range.
yeah. That's big.
It's like these mages can go, look, I popped off on this one trash pack. Look at this nutty ignite stack, and like all the mages in the run are like, hee hee, look, we're top of the meters.
And you
Yeah,
don't.
good. Intercepting the next pack 60 yards away whilst you're sat there drinking.
You run 20 mages and 20 paladins for the bops. Every 5 minutes, you do a big pull.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just the current way of doing speedrunning. You're not entirely limited by. I mean, we did say that you're limited by damage, but that's only important if you can keep
Damage
moving
over the course of the run.
Mm.
Not, I did 20k damage and then wait 2 minutes. 20k damage.
I don't think we're going to have a Nightfall meta. I don't think we're going to ever have a Warlock meta. They do less damage than tanks. And mages crying about having nutty ignite stacks. It's not going to happen, mate. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm
Might not.
But it's too powerful being brown, man.
Yeah.
Brown
Brown Town is powerful. The fact that they have basically no resource other than HP and that they can damage while being on the move.
And tank a hit from the boss.
And tank like a hit or two from anything they over aggro.
But at the same time, I don't think threat will ever be an issue. But if it is, the ranged also have the benefit of 20% more threat than melee to pull aggro, which
Good thing
might be
about
important, but
anyone
probably
can
not.
tank, so who gives a fuck?
Sorry?
Yeah.
If we're talking about Ignite, that will be against the mages in terms of threat, because it will all be stacked on one mage.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Soul
it's gonna be an
Stone,
issue.
see ya.
I think I hope Ignite meta will come to be, because
I hope I'm wrong.
Even if it doesn't stay, it'll be
I
interesting
want to
theory.
see how all the mages handle it, because there's a lot of interesting optimizations. How do you handle the Ignite? And then also for the tanks, how do the tanks handle the Ignite? Because it's a massive part of threat to be able to deal with it.
It's more interesting than a swarm of angry Brown Town, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
So I'm
I mean, we've
excited
been there,
to
right?
mages.
So
I think the comp will look like what you see on the screen there.
I think I agree. I think mage won't be good enough, but
it's very
yeah.
probable, yeah.
I think maybe apes with their triple mage type thing. Maybe we'll see that. But like we've got mages in our guild saying, "Well, we need 5 mages for optimal ignite," and it's like, no, mate. I don't think that's going to be the thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. But yeah, I'm going to say 1 warlock, 1 mage. Fewer rogues. Even you don't need rogues anymore. I think you could.
You don't want any rogue in.
Imagine playing a rogue and you're doing the suppression room now, and you're thinking, okay, cool, we've got 5 rogues, we're gonna have 5 rogues going to AQ. See ya.
So what's the setup you guys think? I think you might bring 1 rogue for like some, I don't know, distract shit or something. Or you bring a rogue because it's the player. Like in a perfect world, though, I don't think you bring any, right?
I think you'll have maximum of 2 rogues, and that will be literally just the players, not the class.
What's your setup looking like, guys? What do you think? I think it'll look like on the right with fewer rogues.
Yeah.
That's basically it for me.
I agree. Even though I would like to see the Mage Dream, you provided valid points on why it probably won't be a Mage Dream.
It'll be interesting.
I don't know enough about it. I think there might be some aspect of the mage AoE that's worth it, because you can stack like 8 mobs in AQ. So maybe the AoE is relevant.
At what stage do we have raiders fully world buffed stood outside the raid, mages after however many bosses, however much trash, Hearthstone out, new guys walk in, get summoned halfway through the dungeon, and we continue with a bigger than 40 roster?
Well, actually, I'm being completely ignorant. I mean, there are encounters where you need casters, right? Like to actually do damage in both.
Twin Emperors.
Yeah, Twin Emps, you need one of them being done with magic damage.
That's not true. They share the health pool. You can just hit the melee mob and they will buff die.
Yeah. There's always the argument you can't have too many melee on KT and Nax for the around the boss. You can only have 4 melee packs or whatever. I think that's exaggerated, to be honest. I think you'd be able to stuff quite a bit more melee that we've seen. I think private servers have overtuned KT.
I just want to see Mercedes now, man. It's gonna be glorious with the 40 millis.
But yeah, I think if mages are to be good, it won't be about the ignite. The ignite will be something bonus. They do in bosses, very nice damage, but I think it will be about the AoE on trash.
Just
If
they are
there's
to be
massive
good.
trash pulls, sure, mages will be great, but I want to see trash skips. AQ trash. Have you seen AQ trash skips? Have you seen Vanguard's AQ?
Yeah, we need to see what the community says about the rules.
we could maybe go
That will
over
determine the setup.
a private server AQ speedrun in anticipation.
In a future episode. Sure.
Yeah, do it now. Let's have a 6-hour podcast.
No, not now.
I'm just looking at a Tetsu's stream where we have it paused. He's using what looks like the HP elixir instead, which is 120 health.
Well, that's one thing. The elixir fortitude. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is he not kissing the flying goblin in? Stormwind?
Maybe they don't have it on big servers. It's the most like the city that received the most of the gifts.
One of the cities will have it, right?
Yeah, but it can be hard.
It's one on each faction, no?
No, it's one.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I'll.
Well, do they not have any rockets? We use rockets.
They can have rockets, yeah. Lucky cluster rockets
Just for the viewers,
from Lunar Festival.
kissing the flying goblin, if you have it in your city, gives you 150 HP, whereas the HP elixir fortitude gives you 120. Just a minor backseat game optimization, I noticed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I feel lucky then if we've got a green boy to kiss in Stormwind.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. Yeah.
So maybe that's something we need to
I'm tank
focus
3,
on.
So I have to care about it to an extent. I run both. I run the lot. I run smitten plus fortitude plus rockets.
I was taking fortitude off on our last speed run because I was the next buff it would fade off me is the Warchief's Blessing.
You were tanking, dude.
I got it rebuffed sometimes, but yeah, it was fine. I had it when I wanted it. I just removed it when I didn't want it.
Tank, by the way, removing stem, by the way.
We've got Sam here, who's like, I don't know, got like a chain around his neck being dragged along, like wanting to like drink and have mana. I'm like, I know we're going, and she's like just buffing every 5 seconds, rebuffing stamina people. It's like, I need mana. It's like, no, we're pulling. So I'm like,
South Paladin, because they must fucking hate me because I try and optimize my damage when I'm not tanking. I'm tank 3 in praxis, and I'm constantly going Zerker.
Salvation Paladins needs to be used to that.
we need to have a Salvation Paladin who is constantly Salvation for every speedrun.
We do.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
who is it? Who in our guild is the Salvation Paladin? Because they have to reapply salve to me like 10 times per raid, like legitimately.
Yeah, but there's no way around it. It has to be done.
I think it's our main tank pala.
Well, they do it very well. I don't have to cry for it. Like it's done very well. But it's just one of those things that us Browntown drag the healers around saying, "Just buff me, heal me, buff me, heal me."
Just heal me. I don't care if I'm a DPS tanking the boss for 10 seconds. Heal me. You think I'm going to stop damage? Do you think I'm going to go defensive stance? Do you think I'm going to put a shield on? Do you think I'm going to use like defensive consumables? Heal me. Bot me. Lay on hands me.
And don't use HOTS. And don't use this buff.
Yeah,
buff
heal me without using your healing spells, please.
By the way, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm the hero officer in praxis. So if within a year, if we still do this podcast and I'm like bald, and you know why.
Yeah, it'll be me, TSW, and Dumpy, and the other warriors screaming for don't use 8-piece tier 2 or whatever the thing that puts a hot on.
Oh, there's so much we can talk about, like tier 3 set bonuses and stuff. We can talk about that later.
I hate you all.
A lot of
no 8-piece for you, Sam.
Gonna be wearing your Scholarmance or Strathholm Undead rather chest piece still. When does that get upgraded?
Well, as soon as you get tailoring.
Why does he have scrolls?
In case he dies?
I think that's just like trash buffs compensation. It can be purged.
That's something I like about TBC. Oh, I logged on Netherwing the other day. Private server, don't talk about it. Scrolls of agility are like 20 gold each.
Yeah, because
15 gold each pack when we played.
Oh, were they? Oh, I've got a guild bank with like 50, 100.
I think we are kind of derailing now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. as far as the speedrun goes, I think the time will go down.
Before
By
AQ, what
about
times are we getting? We're gonna list
18 minutes.
our time.
Before AQ, depends
Yeah.
how long it takes to come out. But
Good
I'm going
point.
to say 18 minutes, 18, 19 minutes.
You got to
I
put a
think
time. You can't say the same time.
1920.
1920. Okay.
1859.
1810. I think like even progress speedrun can be improved by at least half a minute.
Dumpy's
by just
1920.
optimization.
You said 1920,
Yeah,
Dumpy.
why 1920, Dumpy?
Came to my head. I don't know.
I'm gonna say.
Well, I think that's a bit too slow, actually. It's only... What was progress time?
2030.
I think 1.5 minutes of time save is optimistic. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 1920.
I'm gonna say.
I think it's incredibly hard to save that big chunks of time right now.
I think they save about 20 seconds on damage from better use of cooldowns, better gear. I think they save 30 seconds on suppression room, I'm going to say. I think they can save 30 seconds. I think we're going to see a nutty one-pull suppression room at some point by someone. I don't know who. I'm not sure if it's going to be Apes or Progress or even us, but we're going to see the entirety of suppression room pulled as they finish the pack after Veil. It's going to happen at some point. So there's a 30 seconds and then 20 seconds on damage and things like that. So I think, yeah, I just sub 19, I'm thinking.
I'm gonna be that guy and say 1919 and fuck Dumpy over.
Oof.
Yeah, I think 1920 is probably a bit pessimistic. I think
I think my 1810 is like
that's
realistic.
That's like, dude, if you're right, that's awesome. Like, that's amazing if you are right.
Yeah.
Like, let's all hope it's in 1810.
Yeah, we want to see it as fast as possible. Whoever gets it right.
God, they're gonna need to like wear seatbelts on their gaming chairs for that run.
We were struggling to keep up with the commentary. We had to pause so many times. It's going so fast now.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to comment on the boss, and the boss was fucking dead within like starting.
More in particular.
Yeah,
this boss does. Never mind, he didn't do anything. He's dead.
But like with this optimization of Blackwing Lair, which isn't even the end raid, aren't people going to go into AQ on launch and just kill it so easily? Like, they're doing all this optimization. Everyone's so used to world buffs. They're so used to using their consumes, their trinket usage, everything, and playing at a very high level. And then we're going into a raid where some people say that AQ is easier than Blackwing Lair. Is it going to
make a bold, not bold statement? Whoever gets the first AQ will have absolutely nothing to do with their gear, ability, brain function, or anything. It will come down to what their server performs like. It will be the biggest shit show of Classic. The AQ launch, especially if they're doing what some people think they'll do and open all the servers at the same time to avoid the mistakes last time, which I don't think they'll do, by the way. But like, the servers will collapse 100%, and not every server is going to open the moment the war effort starts.
It's gonna be the true classic vanilla experience where on AQ launch every server was dead.
AQ launch, every server was dead. What do you mean by that?
It means that the servers were constantly crashing.
Oh,
for
they
about
had
2 days
died.
constantly.
Okay,
yeah.
Is there any other game who is implementing like the war effort kind of mechanic? Like, the faster you do something, then you unlock.
It doesn't make sense in any game, including WoW. Do you know what I mean? It's not a very good idea.
MMO thing. Loads of old school MMOs had maybe not the same thing as the war effort, but the idea of content being released according to server behavior. Like, I played some poxy old MMOs back in the day that did similar things.
It's like crowdfunding, but instead of the currency being money, it's time in game.
I mean, I've played MMOs where classes were literally locked behind player behavior. Like, you only unlocked like prestige classes and things like that based on certain server achievements.
Could you imagine a rank 14 you unlock Warrior 2?
It's what it feels like playing, man.
None of your abilities have cooldowns.
It just felt like I didn't have to give a shit anymore. I could just charge around and not care.
But that's kind of like what rank 14 does. Like, it gives you a more powerful utility set.
Yeah. But no, I can't think of any other like exact example similar to the war effort now. But yes. Anything else, boys?
I think we kind of covered it pretty well.
How much of a coincidence do you reckon that all of these top speedrun guilds are private server guilds?
No coincidence whatsoever, by the way. Not at all. And
They wanted to play the game before it was officially hosted by Blizzard, and they want to play it now.
Yeah, there was this question of like who's going to win between retail players and classic player, like private server players. It's like everyone who played a private server knew what the answer was going to be, and the whole like method debacle and stuff like that. It's embarrassing.
But
really.
I mean, Method never tried, as far as what I can tell.
I mean, they spent money on like they did.
They spent money, but they didn't have the heart. Like, look at why are these people playing private servers in the first place? They enjoy this version of the game. They are prepared to put in like thousands of hours of their life to this game, and the Method people are not.
Yeah, but like that doesn't change the fact that they legitimately thought that they were capable of beating private server players.
It's not about skill. They might be better players mechanically, for argument's sake. I don't know if they are, but they don't have the motivation.
Yeah, but like that's something that they underestimated.
Yeah, there's no sponsorship and money to be made. Whereas if you're like a Method or a whatever the other guilds are called in retail, like there's sponsorships they can get and money and stuff. Whereas
CN United is a retail guild, I think. So they actually did it well, but yeah, there's like method limit.
Oh well, that's really fun then. If they are a retail guild that's doing well in, even if they're not the same players, even if they just share the same name, it's still pretty cool.
It's a brand.
I thought you were going to ask something else actually when you asked the question, something that we've skipped over. What's the one thing in common with all these guilds we've mentioned?
Alliance.
Yeah,
Alliance.
They're all alliance guilds. Now, I'm going to make myself sound stupid here. I legitimately thought, in BWL particularly, a Horde guild would come out on top. I legitimately thought Horde would win in a speedrun. And maybe we might see one. Maybe one will come up and win. But
well, for progress, actually, Horde guild was the first one.
Yeah, but in terms of speedrun.
That's true.
You mean retail or?
No. Calamity was the first one to clear it.
And they are they?
Yeah.
Hold up. Oh, okay. I keep getting Calamity and CN United mixed up. Ugh.
But in terms of speed rankings, why are Horde not showing? If you look down the speed rankings, it's all Alliance, basically. Why are Horde? And I'm going to say it's got nothing to do with, because some people will make arguments, Paladins versus Shamans, blah, blah. I legitimately think it comes down to caliber of player. And I think if you transferred Progress or Apes in all their ranking gear over to Horde, and you made them do the same speedrun on Horde,
they would do it.
They'd still come out on top, I think.
So are you saying there's not a single Horde guild that has the caliber of any of these top? How many top alliance guilds is it? Like 10?
Similar, but like name a Horde guild who's got like full rank 14s, like Apes, for example.
I mean, Onslaught is 2.5 minutes behind Progress. That's a huge time difference.
I mean, Onslaught
that's a private server guild.
Yeah, private server.
They're a good guild.
Really good
NA.
Good players.
They've got the NA debuff, KW. I'm joking.
The NA int debuff.
I didn't go that far.
No flame. They're really, really good players, but are they of the same caliber as Progress and Apes? I would put them in a tier below as an innocent on bystander. Yeah, and I don't think they would take offense at that. I don't think. Maybe they would. Maybe I'm faux pas here, but like, I think that it's mostly coming down to the players, not the faction. I think we're seeing a correlation in faction because all the best players went Alliance.
The meta was Tomb as Alliance, more or less.
Yeah, so the good players went Alliance. Like Apes went Alliance for PvP purposes, but which I do see them having an advantage in. But well, it's still worth asking the question: do Horde have an advantage or disadvantage, assuming equal players on both sides?
I think they have a slight disadvantage just because their buffs are basically limited by 20, 25 or 30 yards from Shamans.
And the RNG of Wind Fury Totem.
I'm looking at the logs from the best run of Alliance versus the best run of Horde. The Alliance guild is just, they do more damage.
I think it also can come down to passives.
Why are Alliance doing more damage than Horde? That seems odd to me.
can be rank 14s. It
How
can
much
be
more?
the sword skill alone, but on humans.
If you look at the individual passes, and I know how you can cheese them, etc., Horde warriors win on every fight and every raid, and for good reason. Which is with the number of warriors, I would have thought.
But is that because they just use Blood Frenzy for that one fight, and then it's every time they stack?
Maybe it's all being cheesed, but like it's not just the first person. It's like the first fucking page.
Okay, let's look at an objective
RNG.
Objective count in here. Let's look at all boss skills. The best alliance guild versus the best horde guild. The best alliance guild has 36k raid DPS on boss on average, and the best horde guild has 28k raid DPS.
That's not even close.
Yeah.
Is it the Zandalar stat buff with kings making the difference? Do you think?
It's not that much.
Could be.
I think it's just the meta and the mentality.
Like, surely, is it? It must just be the caliber of player, right?
Yeah.
It could come down to that, yeah.
Doesn't fully make sense to me.
I personally think that Horde's harder to play. I think because, as you say, Sam, with the nature of tokens and stuff, I think it is harder to optimize. But with perfect play, I would actually think, again, maybe I'm sounding stupid. Maybe someone more educated in the matter than me was listening to me going, little type of chatting shit. But I would have thought that, assuming equal play and everyone playing perfectly, Horde would win.
You're losing a global placing your totems versus a paladin precasting. So you might be having to take more healers. I don't know how a paladin exactly compares to a shaman, other than that.
See, I'm a big chain heal shill as well. Right.
But how big is chain heal in a speedrun? You've got Circle of Healing, and that does that.
You mean prayer healing?
Yeah.
Prayer healing. It's better than prayer healing.
Yeah, the only difference with prayer healing is you can cast.
Because chain's not just group, is it? It's everyone.
Chain is apparently group wide.
Oh.
Well, you cast it on a person, then it bounces in their group, not your group, I believe, if I remember rightly. Again,
but it only does 3 targets, doesn't it?
I think the problem is I haven't played Horde and Classic enough. Like, I think that's my biggest issue. But I would have thought on paper that they would have done really well. You should know like this. Like, you should probably have strong opinions on this, surely. About
I have the opinion that Horde does more damage, like you.
Yeah, it should. Like, really, theoretically, it should. It'd be interesting. Maybe a Horde guild will emerge. Maybe Onslaught like become big tumors and get the world record.
I don't know where the damage
doesn't look like it.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, maybe answers on a postcard. Maybe someone will tell us why.
Oh, yeah, we've got a comment section. We should also maybe, if you want to engage more with the audience, have like the last 5 minutes of the podcast be going over comments or something just to get people involved.
Probably just like Q&A, I would say.
A live podcast would be cool.
So we have Jimmy493 leaving us a comment on our podcast. I'm not sure what it means, but it says KYS. Anyway, next comment. No, I'm joking. See what kind of caliber our
Tiber looks like a nonce. Someone should get his heart down. Yeah, thank you, viewer Johnny22.
I think we should actually do a live podcast at some point.
Yeah, I'm fine with being live because we're doing this in one take anyway. Well, the only downside would be if something does go phenomenally wrong for whatever reason, we have a chance to redo it, and also we might get distracted by the chat. And at some point, it just becomes a live show. Now, how does a live show compare to a podcast? I don't really know how it would compare, but which one would be better?
I don't understand podcasts, so I'm the wrong person.
Dumpy, do you have an opinion?
I can't say that I do.
Okay.
I don't have an opinion.
Well, maybe like once a month or something. It could be like a special live one, and we could get 5 people watching. It might be fun. I don't know.
Maybe someone will leave a comment and say we really want a live show.
Yeah. If someone watches 2 hours and nearly 4 minutes into the podcast.
All right, we should probably stop, we.
Yeah, I think that's a good time. Do we want to talk about TBC speedrun predictions, or is that too much?
No, because that is anything with TBC takes another hour, and you know this. We love.
I want to talk about it.
We've just got someone else on the fucking show, who's also a big TBC lad. Dumpy will speak for an hour, like we would speak for an hour in TBC. No, we'll get Dumpy back on to talk about TBC another time.
It's
Yeah.
been lovely having you on, Dumpy. It's an absolute
Yeah,
pleasure.
Dumpy,
Yeah, it was fun.
our resident speedrun boy. Basically, all the warriors in the guild do what he says in terms of cooldown usage because we're too dumb to think of it ourselves. We just listen to Dumpy. He's
Dumpy's
our
being
speed-
very modest. And again, thanks Sam and Tiber as well for being here
Thank you.
every single podcast. Right, cheers everyone, and subscribe, comment, something. We should make a Discord as well for the podcast so people can.
We technically have.
True. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let's not make this any longer.
See ya.
Cheers everyone. Bye.
Yeah.